Dragon Ball. I become a god with a supernatural comprehension at the beginning. Chapter 21. Namek History Book. Yes. After hearing this, the elder hesitated for a while and said, "Of course you can, but can you understand Namek?" Great Elder. Nuru, who was standing by, was shocked. The Great Elder actually wanted to lend the Namek history book to an outsider. "I don't understand, but I can learn it," Roger said with a smile. He has a supernatural comprehension. If he wants to learn a language, he can learn it quickly. Study. Yes, God, you should know Namek, right? Yes. The Earth Fairy nodded. Then you teach me Namek, and when I learn it, I will ask the Great Elder to borrow the Namek history book. After hearing this, the Earth Immortal looked at the Great Elder. The Great Elder was the Great Elder of all Namekians, and he had to get the Great Elder's consent before he could teach Roger Namek. After seeing this, the Great Elder nodded to him. Okay. The Earth Immortal agreed to Roger. Well, Great Elder, if there is nothing else, I would like to take a walk on Namek. The Ball God said to the Great Elder. Good. After hearing this, the Earth Immortal immediately took Roger and left the Great Elder's castle. Great Elder, why did you lend the Namek history book to that Saiyan? After the two left, Nuru immediately asked the Great Elder. Those Saiyans are very powerful and may be able to save our Namek in the future. Save our Namek? Could it be that there will be some disaster on Namek in the future? I don't know, but we on Namek have the Dragon Balls, so the universe is destined to not be peaceful. Dragon Ball. The Kanasa people are heading towards destruction because of the curse. Kanasa Star. On the other side, after leaving the castle of the Great Elder, the Earth Immortal walked around the Namek village with his cane. Many Namekians came forward to talk to the Earth Immortal enthusiastically when they saw him. After 3 hours, the Earth Immortal felt that he had stayed there long enough, so he went back to the Great Elder and said goodbye to him. Then, he said goodbye to the Namekians in the village. Then Roger, shall we go back? The Earth Immortal said with some reluctance. Although he wanted to go back to Namek, he had lived on Earth all his life. For him, Earth was his first home. Okay. After saying that, Roger teleported and brought the Earth Immortal back to the Earth Heaven. God, why did you come back so soon? Why don't you stay on Namek for a while longer? Mr. Bobo said to the returning Earth God. No, I just want to see my compatriots living well. Thank you, Roger. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to go back and see my compatriots. Nothing. Roger smiled and shook his head. God, can you teach me Namek? Sure, Roger. Do you want to learn Namek? Mr. Popo asked. Yes, I also speak Namek, how about I teach you? Good. As long as he learns the Namek language, it doesn't matter who teaches him. Time flies, and 3 days have passed in a blink of an eye. During these 3 days, Roger has been learning Namek from Mr. Popo. Because Roger has a photographic memory and a super memory, as long as Mr. Popo speaks Namek once, Roger can learn it immediately. Now he can completely communicate with Namek people in Namek. But it is just ordinary communication. There are tens of thousands of Namek characters. If Roger wants to understand the history books of Namek, he must learn all the characters. West Capital, Bulma's house. With the guidance of Dr. Brief, Bulma finally drew the manufacturing drawings of Dragon Ball radar, but it was just a drawing, and she hasn't started manufacturing yet. At this time, Bulma was sitting in front of the computer with a crazy look on her face, because she told Roger that she would manufacture the Dragon Ball radar today, but she only drew a drawing. If she had known, she would not brag in front of Roger a few days ago. Just when Bulma was going crazy, Bulma's mother, Mrs. Brief, walked in. Bulma, Roger is here and he wants to ask you if you have made the Dragon Ball radar. Roger, yes, just say I'm not here. But, your sister has already told him that you are at home. Quote. This sister is such a traitor to her younger sister. Bulma, is your Dragon Ball radar not yet manufactured? Mrs. Brief asked with a smile. How can I possibly make it so quickly when I just got the blueprint today? Moreover, making Dragon Ball radar requires a very rare material. Rare materials? Yes, so I have to find this material before I can make it. Doesn't Dad have one in his company? No, Bulma shook her head. But my dad said he would let me help find it. So, then if that's the case, just tell Roger directly, I don't think he will say anything. Bulma nodded. She didn't expect that making Dragon Ball radar would be so difficult at first. After saying that, Bulma immediately walked out of the house and came to the yard. At this time, Tazy was showing Roger the novel she had just written. Roger, what do you think of my novel? This. It turns out that the writing is not very good. Tazy saw Roger hesitated to speak, and she knew that the writing was not very good. No, I just think it would be better to add some philosophy to your adventure stories. Philosophy, for example, some insights into life or something like that. Tazy laughed immediately after hearing this. I didn't expect that Roger, at such a young age, actually understands philosophy. Just then, Bulma came over. Bulma. Roger smiled and greeted Bulma. Bulma nodded. Bulma, has the Dragon Ball radar been manufactured? No, because I was missing a material. If I had that material, I would have made it long ago. What material? Bulma immediately said what kind of material it was. After hearing this, Roger immediately used the creation out of thin air to create a kind of ore. Is this the material you want? Bulma nodded heavily after hearing this. Roger, where did you get this material? I made this. You made it, but you have nothing. What did you make it out of? This was created out of thin air by me. From a scientific point of view, it was made from particles in the air. Particles, particles, yes, impossible, you must be bragging, how can anyone create such a large ore using air particles? After hearing this, Roger raised his right palm upwards, and a small blue dot appeared in his hand. The blue dot turned into a small blue ball at a speed visible to the naked eye. How do you explain this with science? And I can fly in the sky. Roger said, his feet off the ground, his body floating in the air. This. After hearing this, Bulma didn't know how to explain it for a moment. Tazy looked at her strong-willed sister and immediately laughed. Bulma, although I don't quite believe what Roger said, but the facts are in front of us, you have to believe it even if you don't want to. Okay, sister, I believe he is not okay. Tazy nodded. After hearing this, Roger immediately let his body fall back to the ground and said. Then Bulma, I have the materials you need. Do you need my help? Bulma wanted to say no, but when she thought about how Roger had always slapped her in the face, she was no longer so arrogant. Not yet, but if I need help, I'll find you. Okay. Roger nodded. Then, Bulma took the ore back to the house. After chatting with Tazy for a while, Roger returned to the heaven. Time flies, and 2 days have passed in a blink of an eye. After 2 days of hard work, Bulma finally made the Dragon Ball radar. Sister, I made the Dragon Ball radar. Bulma said with great pride. Okay. Tazy smiled and nodded after hearing this. So sister, when will Roger come over? He seemed to say tomorrow. Ah, I wanted to show off to him. It's okay, even if I show off tomorrow. After learning Namek language for 2 more days, Roger came to Namek to borrow Namek history books from the Great Elder. Nelu, go get the Namek history book and lend it to Roger. It's the Great Elder. After a while, Nelu came over with a pile of books. Great Elder, are these all Namek history books? Roger asked the Great Elder. Yes, because the Namek book not only records the history of our planet Namek, but also records some history of the universe. So that's it. The Elder nodded. After hearing this, Roger immediately picked up the books and then, Great Elder, please lend me these books first. I will return them to you as soon as I finish reading them. The Great Elder nodded again. After reading them, Roger teleported and brought the books back to the heaven on Earth. Roger. The Earth God and Mr. Popo saw Roger coming back and immediately walked towards him. After hearing this, Roger nodded. Then, he sat on the ground and looked through the borrowed history book of Namek. If he found any words he didn't understand, he would ask Mr. Popo to help translate it. It turned out that the Namekians were not the original inhabitants of the 7th universe, but came to the 7th universe from another world. As for where the Namekians came from, there is no record in the history books of Namek. In addition to the Namekians, the history books of Namek also record the nations in the universe, including the Saiyans. The method of transformation into the Super Saiyan God is also recorded in the history books of Namek. However, although the history of many nations is recorded in the history books of Namek, because the Namekians are not the original inhabitants, the history recorded in the history books of Namek began to be recorded after Namek moved to the seventh universe. But even so, the records in the history books of Namek also let Roger know many secrets of the universe. The next morning, Roger came to Bulma's house early in the morning. "Roger, you're here," Tazy said with a smile when she saw Roger. Roger nodded. "Where is Bulma?" "Bulma is in the house. She made the Dragon Ball radar yesterday." "Really? Then she is really amazing." "Of course, but this is also because of my father's help." Roger nodded. At this moment, Bulma seemed to hear the movement outside and ran out of the house with the Dragon Ball radar in both hands. "Roger, you are here." After hearing this, Roger smiled and nodded. "Look, this is the Dragon Ball radar I made." Bulma handed the Dragon Ball radar to Roger. After seeing it, Roger immediately took the Dragon Ball radar and pressed the switch on it. With a beeping sound, a red dot appeared on the Dragon Ball. This red dot was the 5-star Dragon Ball that Bulma had placed in the house. "What do you think, Roger? Am I awesome?" "Very good." Bulma was very happy when she heard Roger's praise. "So Roger, if you found the 7 Dragon Balls, what wish would you make?" "Secret." Roger smiled and said, "Come on, just tell me." After hearing this, Bulma immediately pulled Roger's clothes and acted like a spoiled child to him. Okay, actually I promised someone that I would make his planet bigger." "The planet is getting bigger. Are you trying to make the Earth bigger?" "Of course not, the Earth is big enough." "Then who are you going to help make the planet bigger?" "Secret." "Tell me." Bulma immediately pulled Roger's clothes and acted like a spoiled child to him. "This person is also a god, but he is a god who manages a galaxy." "Managing a galaxy? Yes, okay, I've already told you, you get the 5-star Dragon Balls, and it's almost time for me to go buy some Dragon Balls." "Then I'll go with you." "No, you can't fly, and you still have to study, so you'd better wait until later." "Then you're not allowed to lie, or I'll ignore you for the rest of my life." Of course. After that, Bulma returned to the house and gave the 5-star Dragon Ball to Roger. After Roger got the 5-star Dragon Ball, he immediately left Bulma's house to look for the Dragon Ball. After half a day, Roger collected the 7 Dragon Balls and placed them on a piece of grass. "Come out, Shenlong, and fulfill my wish." As soon as the words fell, a huge golden lightning immediately appeared above the 7 shining Dragon Balls and flew upwards. The originally blue sky suddenly darkened. At this time, the golden lightning flying in the sky turned into a long green dragon. He was the Shenlong. "Tell me your wish. Any wish can come true, but only one. Please double the size of the North Kai King planet." Roger said to Shenlong. "North Kai King planet?" Shenlong asked. "Yeah, any questions?" "The problem is that there is no problem, but the North King planet was destroyed and made so small by the god of destruction Beerus-sama. If I make it bigger, Lord Beerus might be unhappy." "It's okay, Lord Beerus is sleeping now, and even if he wants to find someone to blame, he will find us first." "Well then," Shenlong said, his eyes flashing red, and he enlarged the North Kai King's planet. What's going on?" King Kai was shocked to see his planet suddenly grow bigger. Then, he seemed to have thought of something. Could it be Roger? "Well, your wish has come true, see you later." "Achieved." "Yes, then we'll see each other later," the dragon said, and then it turned into 7 stones, scattered all over the earth. The originally blue sky immediately recovered. Roger looked at the disappearing dragon and immediately entered a state of enlightenment. It was unknown how long it had passed before Roger woke up from the state of enlightenment. A magical power similar to that of the dragon appeared in his hands. However, his magic power was very weak, not as strong as the dragon's magic power. Is this the power of the dragon? After feeling the power of the dragon in his hand, Roger decided to practice the power of the dragon in the future. The power of the dragon is a very magical power. This power is somewhat similar to the power of creation of the King of the Worlds, but it exceeds the power of creation. It seems that there are still many things to practice in the future, Roger said, and teleported back to the Kaioshin realm. "Roger, you're back," East Kai said happily when he saw Roger coming back. Roger nodded. The next morning, Roger had not seen King Kai for a long time, so he teleported to King Kai's planet. Roger. The North King saw Roger and immediately shouted at him. Roger. Babris and Gurgly heard the voice of the North King and immediately ran over from a distance. Long time no see, Lord Kai, Babris, and Gregory. Long time no see, the North King and Gurgly replied. Babris could only grunt a few times because he couldn't speak human language. Roger, you made my planet bigger with the Dragon Balls, right? King Kai smiled and asked Roger. Yes. At this moment, a man wearing a pair of blue glasses on his right eye and a Kai King's robe appeared. He was the West Kai King who was in charge of the Western Milky Way. West Kai King. The North Kai King looked at the West Kai King who had suddenly arrived, and his expression was not very good. The West Kai King and him had always been at odds, and he usually came to find him to cause trouble. Long time no see, North Kai King. After hearing this, West Kai King smiled and said to North Kai King. Long time no see. After hearing this, the North King replied casually. King Kai, wasn't your planet made smaller by Beerus-sama? Why does your planet seem to be much bigger now? Why not? After hearing this, the Northern King snorted and said. I'm just asking casually, what's your attitude? When the West King heard the tone of the North King talking to him, he felt a little unhappy and said. I have always been polite. If you don't like it, you can leave me. The North King, who is he? His name is Roger, and he is my apprentice. Apprentice? Yes, I never thought that you could be a master. West Kai King, what do you mean by this? After hearing this, the North Kai King gritted his teeth in anger. That's exactly what I meant. If you don't agree, let's have a competition. The two of us. You mean the two of us fighting? Of course not. We are gods after all. How can we fight casually? What I mean is to let your apprentice fight with my apprentice. Your apprentice? It's pork ribs rice. What do you think? Do you dare? Whoever dares not is a grandson. Okay, so what if you lose? What do you want? You must be respectful when you see me from now on. What if you lose? Asked the Northern King. Then I must be respectful when I see you, said the King of the West. Okay, it's a deal then. When will we compete? Tomorrow. How about we take some people and go to the Great King Kai planet for a competition? Okay, tomorrow then. Lord Kai, I have something to do tomorrow, how about we compete today? Roger said. Today, but King Kai is very far away. Even if we set out now, we won't arrive until tomorrow. Roger smiled. Lord Kai, have you forgotten that I can teleport? But don't you need to sense the air at that moment? And you shouldn't know the location of the Great Kai planet. I did need to sense the energy before, but I learned even more powerful teleportation from Lord Kaioshin. Kaioshin-sama. Upon hearing this, West Kaioshin was shocked. How do you know Lord Kaioshin? I am training with Lord Kaioshin. What? After hearing this, the King of the West was so frightened that he immediately collapsed to the ground. Who are you and Lord Kaioshin? It's nothing. Just practicing with him. Is that so? After hearing this, West King Kai immediately stood up from the ground. If Roger had any important relationship with East King Kai, he would definitely not be able to provoke him. Above King Kai is Great King Kai, and above Great King Kai is King Kai. This means that King Kai is 2 levels higher than him. Roger nodded. Then you two put your hands on my back, and I will use instant teleportation to take you to Great King Kai. Okay. Then Babris, you two will stay and look after the house. Okay, Lord Kai. After saying that, West Kai and North Kai immediately put their hands on Roger's back. Roger teleported and brought them to the Great Kai planet. The Great Kai planet is the planet where the Great Kai lives, and it is much larger than the North Kai planet, and there are martial artists from the 4 galaxies on the Great Kai planet. These martial artists sacrificed their lives to protect their planet, so they were specially allowed to keep their bodies and practice here. It was because of this that Pai Jiu Fan, a subordinate of the West Kai King, was able to keep his body and follow the West Kai King. After the 3 appeared on the Great Kai planet, an old man wearing casual clothes and with white hair and beard appeared carrying a radio playing music. He was the Great Kai King. Great King Kai. West King Kai and Bei King Kai immediately spoke to the Great King Kai. After hearing this, the Great King Kai immediately turned off the radio and said, West Kai King, North Kai King, why are you here today? In reply to Lord Great King Kai, King West and I brought our own disciples here for the duel. Fighting. After hearing this, the Great King immediately became interested. West Kai King, North Kai King, who are your two disciples? Roger. Ribs with rice. Roger. This name sounds familiar. After hearing this, the Great Kai stroked his beard with his right hand and said, "Oh, now I remember, Roger was the human who was looking for Lord Kaioshin half a year ago." "Yes, but he looks only 5 or 6 years old, can he be a match for pork chop rice?" The Great King Kai asked the Northern King Kai. Although he wanted to see the fight, if the strength of the two sides was too different, there would be nothing to watch. Lord Great King Kai, please don't underestimate Roger. Although Roger is young, he has already mastered the Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan. Yes, Super Saiyan is a transformation of Saiyan. Even Lord Kaioshin praised Roger highly. Really? In that case, I will be their referee. West Kai King and North Kai King nodded. After a while, West Kai King brought a man with green skin, no nose, square ears, wearing a white martial arts uniform and a long black hat to the martial arts arena on the Great Kai Star. This man was Pai Ji Fan. When other martial artists on the Great Kai Star heard that Pai Ji Fan was going to compete with others, they all came to the arena to watch the fight. Is that the man who is going to compete with Pai Ji Fan? But why is there no halo above his head? Could it be that he is not dead? I don't know, but he looks like a child. Because the competition had not started yet, everyone was talking about it. At this time, a man with a mushroom-shaped hairstyle walked onto the stage. He was the referee for this competition. Although the Great King Kai said that he would referee them, he was the Great King Kai after all, and his status was noble, so there was no way he could really referee them. So, at this moment, he was sitting in the highest position in the audience. After the referee came on stage, he briefly explained the rules of this competition. The rules of the competition were similar to the rules of the world number 1 martial arts tournament on Earth. Then Roger, pork chop rice, if you don't have any other questions, let's start the competition, shall we? After hearing this, the two nodded. Seeing this, the referee immediately jumped off the competition stage. After seeing this, the West King and the North King swallowed their saliva. Although they both had confidence in their disciples, this competition was related to their future reputation, so neither of them wanted to lose. Roger, you must not lose. King Kai of the North clenched his fists tightly and said secretly in his heart. At this moment, Roger and Pork Chop Rice made a gesture with their hands and rushed towards each other at the same time. Soon, the two came in front of each other, and punched each other with fists like the wind. The ground around the two people immediately shook violently. Because Roger's body was still that of a child, his body was flying in the air to fight with Pork Chop Rice. Call out, bang, bang, bang. After the two fought for a while, Pai Ji Fan raised his hands quickly and pushed Roger back. Roger. After seeing this, the North King immediately shouted anxiously to the stage. The West King standing beside him immediately laughed after seeing this. Ah! At this moment, Pai Ji Fan kicked towards Roger with his right foot. Roger was startled and quickly used the power of time to slow down Pai Ji Fan's kick and retreated behind him. Call out. Pork ribs rice misses the mark. What? Everyone looked at the stage in surprise. They didn't understand how Roger dodged the kick. What happened just now? Is it a superpower? Pai Ji Fan looked at Roger and thought to himself. At this moment, Roger clenched his hands, and an extremely amazing aura emanated from his whole body, and he quickly rose up. Ah! With a huge roar, Roger's hair and eyebrows turned golden, his head stood up except for his bangs, his eyes turned light green, and a golden aura rose from his body. This is the Super Saiyan. After seeing Roger's transformation, everyone was surprised by Roger, including King Kai of the West. What is this? The West King asked the North King. The North King laughed immediately after hearing this. This is the Super Saiyan I told you about before. Super Saiyan. That's right, Roger was just testing the strength of Pork Chop Rice, so he didn't show his true strength. The North King said, and he immediately felt a little proud in his heart. King of the West, please don't forget our bet. After hearing this, the West King gritted his teeth in anger and suddenly became very nervous. He didn't want to be servile in front of the North King in the future. Ha! Just as the two were chatting, Roger raised his right hand and rushed towards Pai Ji Fan as fast as lightning. Pai Ji Fan clenched his hands and rushed forward. Soon, the two came in front of each other, punching and kicking as fast as lightning, and hitting each other hard. While the two were fighting, their hands and feet kept emitting amazing gusts of wind, which spread to all directions. Bang! With a heavy kick, Roger kicked Pai Ji Fan with his right foot and kicked him to the ground on the left side of the competition stage. Pork chop rice. After seeing this, the King of the West became very worried about the pork chop rice. The referee standing in the audience saw this and immediately ran over to count down. The pork chop rice player fell to the ground. Now the countdown begins. 10, 9, 8. Before the referee could count to 7, Pai Ji Fan stood up from the ground on the competition stage. Pork chop rice. When the King of the West saw pork chop rice standing up from the competition stage, a faint smile immediately appeared on his face. The Pai Ji Fan contestant has stood up, so the competition will continue now. Pai Ji Fan stretched his neck after hearing this, and then took off the weighted hat, robe, and belt from his body and threw them on the ground. When these three weighted clothes fell on the ground of the competition stage, they immediately made a loud noise. After watching, everyone was immediately surprised. Heavy-duty equipment, the North King said with a serious look. The West King looked at the serious expression on the North King's face and immediately laughed. That's right, our Pai Ji Fan just fought with him, and he was wearing a heavy suit the whole time, so he didn't show his true strength. The King of the West said, feeling a little proud in his heart. King of the North, please don't forget the bet between us. After hearing this, the North King gritted his teeth and said angrily. King of West Kai, don't be complacent, they haven't decided the winner yet. After hearing this, King of West Kai glared at King of North Kai. King of North Kai glared back at him. While the two were bickering, Pai Ji Fan, who had taken off his heavy-duty suit, looked at Roger seriously and rushed towards Roger as fast as lightning. Roger clenched his hands and rushed towards Pai Ji Fan as well. Soon, the two came in front of each other and fought fiercely. Bang! With a loud noise, the two men punched each other in the face with their right fists. Their faces tilted back and their bodies retreated a distance at the same time. Ah! Roger roared loudly, and an extremely amazing aura emanated from his whole body, and he quickly rose upwards. What? Everyone felt Roger's rising aura and was shocked by his powerful aura, including pork chop rice. At this moment, Roger's head became more upright, and lightning swirled around his body as his body emitted energy. The flame-like aura on his body turned into a flame-breathing aura. This was the Super Saiyan 2. Bang! After Roger completed his transformation, he immediately released the aura gathered outside his body. Suddenly, an extremely strong wind appeared and spread around the competition stage. Pork chop rice and the others saw it and blocked the strong wind with their hands. When the wind dissipated, and pork chop rice looked at Roger with an extremely solemn expression on his face. Before the competition, pork chop rice looked down on Roger because he was a child. But now, not only does he not dare to look down on Roger, but he also admires Roger very much. Although pork chop rice is strong, he has been training on the great King Kai for so long that even he has forgotten how long. Roger is only 5 or 6 years old, but he has the same strong strength as him. He can definitely be said to be a genius among geniuses. Thinking of this, pork chop rice flew into the air and spun quickly in the air, forming a huge whirlwind. Pi-style exclusive whirlwind, Pai Ji Fan shouted, and his body controlled the whirlwind, sweeping towards Roger. After Roger saw it, he jumped up and flew over Pai Ji Fan. After Pai Ji Fan saw it, he immediately controlled the whirlwind and rolled towards Roger. The law of time, Roger shouted, and rushed from the center of the whirlwind to Pai Ji Fan. Pai Ji Fan saw this and wanted to move the whirlwind, but suddenly felt that his body became unable to move. At this moment, Roger rushed into the whirlwind and hit Pai Ji Fan's face with his right fist. Bang! With an extremely violent sound, Pai Ji Fan's body fell heavily onto the competition stage like a thread. A huge dust storm was immediately raised on the competition stage. Pork chop rice. After seeing this, the king of the West realm immediately became extremely worried about pork chop rice. After a while, when the dust on the ground cleared, an extremely huge deep pit immediately appeared on the competition stage. Pork chop rice's body was lying in this huge deep pit. Pork ribs rice contestant. The referee immediately ran onto the stage after seeing this. Are you okay, contestant Pai Gu Fan? Pai Gu Fan did not reply to the referee after hearing this. The pork rib rice contestant has fallen to the ground. The countdown begins now. 10, 9, 8, 7. Pork chop rice. After seeing this, the West King immediately became extremely nervous. The North King standing next to him smiled. When the referee counted to 3, pork chop rice stood up from the ground with both hands. Pork chop rice contestant, stand up, the competition continues. The referee said, and immediately walked to the stage. Pai Gu Fan shouted angrily, looking at Roger in the distance. Although he admired Roger very much, he didn't want to lose this competition. At this time, Roger had already fallen back to the ground from midair. I never thought that this Saiyan named Roger would be so strong. The great King Kai looked at the embarrassed pork chop rice and thought to himself. Pork chop rice had been training on the great King Kai planet, so the great King Kai knew pork chop rice's strength very well. It seems that we can only use that trick. At this time, Pai Gu Fan looked at Roger with an extremely firm gaze. After that, Pai Gu Fan half knelt, with his hands raised forward, aiming at Roger. Lightning and lightning cannon. With a loud shout, Pai Gu Fan fired a huge flame shock wave with both hands, hitting Roger. Because the range of the flame shock wave was too large, half of the competition arena was affected by Pai Gu Fan's flame shock wave. After seeing this, Roger quickly raised his hands to block Pai Gu Fan's lightning and light cannon. Because the power of the lightning and light cannon was too great, Roger was immediately knocked to the ground by the lightning and light cannon. Roger. After seeing this, the North King standing in the audience immediately became worried about Roger. Player Roger. The referee standing in the audience shouted to Roger immediately after watching the scene. Roger stood up from the stage immediately after hearing it. Some of his clothes were burned by the flames of the lightning cannon. When Roger watched the cartoon, he didn't understand why Sun Wukong couldn't dodge this move. Now he understands that, firstly, the lightning cannon was too fast and he couldn't react in time, and secondly, the lightning cannon's attack range was too large and it was difficult to dodge this attack. However, although this move was powerful, Roger had a supernatural comprehension. As long as the opponent used a move once, he could learn it and crack the opponent's move. Can you still stand up? Well, in that case, I will use this move once more to make you fall completely. Pai Gu Fan said, and once again made the lightning cannon gesture. You have no chance, Roger said, and he moved instantly and appeared behind Pai Gu Fan. Pai Gu Fan was startled and quickly turned around and pointed his hands at Roger. The law of time, Roger shouted, and a large amount of time power emanated from his body, making Roger unable to move. My body, I can't move. Pai Gu Fan felt that his body suddenly couldn't move, and his face suddenly changed. The law of time, could it be that this is a time trick? After hearing what Roger said, the great king said. Ha! At this moment, Roger shouted loudly and punched Pai Gu Fan in the abdomen with all his strength. Pai Gu Fan screamed loudly and flew out of the competition stage like a thread. Pai Gu Fan is out, Roger wins. The referee immediately announced to everyone. Great. After hearing this, the King of the West said with great joy. After hearing this, the King of the West sat down on the ground. He never thought that the pork chop rice would lose to a child. The King of the North smiled and looked at the King of the West. King of the West, you should still remember the bet between us, right? Remember, isn't it that I have to be respectful when I see you? Yes, said the North King with a smile. But the way I look at you now, it seems like I'm not being very respectful to you. How could that be? King North, I have always been very respectful to you. King West said against his will. Is that so? After hearing this, the North King burst into laughter. When the West King heard the laughter, he immediately cursed the North King in his heart, but he still managed to force a smile on his face. He had already made up his mind that he would never go to the North King for no reason in the future. When the Great Kai saw the end of the competition, he immediately applauded Roger and Pork Chop Fan on the stage. This is really a very exciting competition. After hearing this, everyone applauded the two. After hearing this, Roger immediately flew from the stage to the front of Pai Gu Fan and put his hand down. Pai Gu Fan was stunned at first, then grabbed Roger's right hand with his right hand and climbed up from the ground. Thank you, Pork Chop Rice thanked Roger. After hearing this, Roger nodded. You are very strong. If there is a chance in the future, I would like to compete with you. Good. Just then, the West King and the North King came over from a distance. Roger, this game is really exciting, the North King said to Roger with great pride. Roger nodded after hearing this. Then let's go to the Pork Chop Rice. After hearing this, the King of the West said in a very unhappy mood. It's Lord Kai. The North King looked at the unhappy West King and felt even happier. Then Lord Kai, do you want me to take you back? Roger asked. Okay, but I'll say goodbye to the Great King first. Roger nodded. After a while, the North King said goodbye to the Great King, and Roger sent the North King back. Time flies, and 2.5 years have passed in a blink of an eye. During these 2.5 years, Roger has been practicing in the Kaioshin realm. After 2.5 years, Roger successfully cultivated into a god. After Roger cultivated into a god, his lifespan increased by tens of thousands of years, and his body could also survive in outer space. However, although Roger cultivated into a god, he has just crossed the threshold of god, so his lifespan has only increased by tens of thousands of years. When his god realm is improved, his future lifespan will also increase accordingly. The sixth universe, Kanasa. Because the development of the sixth and seventh universes is different, the Kanasa people here were not exterminated by the Saiyans. In a city on Kanasa, there was a boy with a tail walking in the city. This person was Roger. Because Roger looked different from the Kanasa people, as he walked along, some Kanasa people looked at Roger. Roger looked at their gazes, thinking in his heart how to let them use the magic fist. At this moment, a ferocious-looking Kanasa blocked Roger's way. Little ghost, who are you? Why are you on our planet Kanasa? After hearing this, Roger looked at the Kanasa star and said, Uncle, do you know the magic fist? Magic fist. Yes, no, although the magic fist was created by us, the Kanasa people, not everyone can use the magic fist. So that's it. Why are you asking about the magic fist? Asked the Kanasa star. Nothing, I just want to know if your Kanasa's magic fist can really let people see the future. After hearing this, the Kanasa snorted coldly. Of course this is true. Little boy, you haven't told me yet, who are you? My name is Roger, and I'm a Saiyan. Saiyan, but I remember that Saiyans don't have tails. Uncle, what's your name? My name is Starry Sky. Starry Sky. Then do you know where there is the Kanasa alien who knows the magic fist? I know, but I won't tell you. Why? The magic fist is the secret of our Kanasa planet and we will not teach it to outsiders. So, aren't you worried that your people, Kanasa, will be exterminated? Exterminate the clan. Shinkong's face changed when he heard this. Roger, what do you mean by that? Space pirates, you should know, right? Of course I know that. Could it be that space pirates are going to invade our planet? No, it's impossible. If space pirates were to invade our planet, we should be able to predict it. It is indeed predictable, but the future can be changed. Roger said, pausing for a moment. Shinkong, how about we make a deal? Trade, yes, I can tell you who is behind those space pirates, but you have to have someone teach me the magic fist. But how can I believe that what you said is true? It's very simple. I'll tell you the person's name now and you can ask someone to investigate and you'll know. Okay, then tell me his name. Frost. Frost. Right, but isn't he a good man? Good man. Roger laughed immediately after hearing this. You mean he secretly sent people to invade planets, while at the same time sending out troops to drive away the invaders, and then bought up the land at a low price and made a fortune? You mean, those space pirates were actually sent by him? Right. In that case, why don't you tell the Ross Defense Force? The Ross Defense Force is a team formed by the Saiyans of the sixth universe to maintain the peace of the universe. I can't reach them. Quote. After Shinkong heard this, He thought for a moment and said, "In that case, come back to see me in 3 days." 3 days later. "Yes, I will report this matter first to see whether it is true or not." "Okay," Roger said, and continued to move forward. Although Kong promised him that he would teach him the magic fist as long as what he said was true, he could not completely believe Kong's words. Time flies, and 3 days have passed in a blink of an eye. Roger wandered around Kanasa for 2 days, but he still couldn't find a Kanasa person who was willing to teach him the magic fist. So he could only hope that Kong would keep his word. On the morning of the 3rd day, Roger found the starry sky through the starry sky's chi. "Uncle, we meet again." Kong nodded. "Uncle, how is the investigation going?" "I don't know, but I have contacted the Lay's defense team to help investigate." "That, the magic fist. Come with me, I'll let my brother teach you." "Okay." After hearing this, Roger smiled and nodded. After a while, Roger was brought to his brother Xingqian by Kong. "Brother, he is the Roger the first told you about." Xingqian nodded after hearing this. "Hello, I am Kong's brother Xingqian." "Hello." Roger nodded in response. Because the Saiyans of the 6th universe have a good reputation in the universe, Xingqian had a good first impression of Roger. "Roger, before I teach you the magic fist, I want to ask you a few questions." "What is the problem? Why do you want to learn magic fist?" "I want to know my future." "Future, right, Roger. Our Kanasa people's magic fist can allow people to see the future, but it is also cursed." "Curse, yes, so we generally don't use the magic fist casually." "So does this curse shorten one's lifespan?" Roger asked. "No, it will bring disaster to people." "Disaster. Moreover, the level of this disaster will increase with the number of times it is used. This means that if you use the magic fist too much, it may bring you great disaster." "So that's it. Do you still want to learn?" Xingqian asked. "To learn. Okay, the second question is, how do you know that Frost is the mastermind behind the space pirates?" "This was divined by someone else." "Divination. Do you know a fortune teller?" Roger nodded. "Do you have any other questions?" "I can teach you the magic fist, but you must promise me that you will not pass it on to others, otherwise I will not teach it to you." "Okay, I promise you I won't pass it on to others, otherwise I will be cursed to death." Xingqian nodded after hearing this. "Then we will show you the magic fist now, you have to watch carefully." After hearing this, Roger nodded again. Seeing this, Xingqian waved his fists in front of Roger like a phantom. The magic fist does not have many moves, so in less than a moment, Xingqian finished waving the magic fist in front of Roger. Whoosh! Xingqian took a breath and said, "Roger, this is the magic fist." Roger nodded and waved it in front of the two of them. When Roger finished waving, Xingqian was shocked and said, "Roger, have you ever learned the magic fist from someone else before?" "No." Roger shook his head. "I just saw you swing the magic fist." "You mean, you learned it just by watching it once?" "Yes. Then you were really a genius. It took me a long time to learn it at the beginning." "What about the starry sky and stars?" "If there is nothing else, I will leave first." "Go. Where are you going?" Kong asked. "Of course, leave Kanasa." "Are you leaving our planet?" "Yes, if we are destined to meet again in the future, we will meet again." The two nodded. Seeing this, Roger moved away from Kanasa Star in an instant. Teleport. Xingqian was shocked again when he saw Roger teleport. "Roger, who is he? How can he teleport like a Yodrat?" "I don't know, he just told me that he is a Saiyan." Universe 7, King Kai's realm. After Roger left Kanasa in Universe 6, he immediately returned to King Kai's realm, sat on the grass in King Kai's realm, and improved the magic fist he had just learned. It was unknown how much time had passed before Roger opened his eyes and waved a set of boxing techniques that were very similar to the magic fist on the grass. This set of boxing techniques is called the Future Cognition Fist, and this set of boxing techniques greatly reduces the power of the curse brought by foreseeing the future. Moreover, this set of boxing techniques can allow the victim to see the future of different timelines according to the use of the moves. For example, 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years. After waving the Future Cognition Fist, Roger decided to find someone to try and see if his Future Cognition Fist was effective. And he soon had a candidate in mind. This candidate was Sun Wukong, who was far away on Earth. "Earth, Baozi Mountain. A little boy with a crab-like hairstyle and wearing a blue shirt is practicing in the bamboo forest with a red stick. He is the 4-year-old Sun Wukong. Ah! With a loud shout, Sun Wukong hit a bamboo tree with his rui stick. The bamboo tree was broken instantly and fell backwards. Just as Sun Wukong was practicing seriously, a figure suddenly appeared in the distance of the bamboo forest. This person was Roger, who, Sun Wukong seemed to have noticed Roger, and he stopped swinging the rui stick with both hands and looked towards where Roger was. Roger smiled and quickly came in front of Sun Wukong. After hearing this, Sun Wukong pointed the rui stick at Roger with a vigilant look on his face. Who are you and why are you here? My name is Roger, and I'm a Saiyan. Saiyan, yes, you are a Saiyan too. What are Saiyans? Do you see the tail behind me? The symbol of a Saiyan is the tail behind him. But don't monkeys have tails too? Sun Wukong said innocently. Quote. Roger is speechless. I mean, humans with tails behind them. I see. Then why are you here? I'm here to find you. Find me? Yes, I can give you the future. The future? What is the future? The future is what will happen in the future. I see. Then how can you let me see the future? It's very simple. I will use a kind of boxing technique on you later. As long as you are hit by my boxing technique, you will be able to see the future. Boxing? Do you mean to fight me? Roger nodded. Then, come and attack me, please. Sun Wukong waved his rui stick with both hands and said to Roger. Good. Roger's fists were like a phantom, attacking Sun Wukong. Because Roger's fists were too fast, Sun Wukong's body didn't have time to react, and he was knocked unconscious by the future-foreseeing fist. After being knocked unconscious, Sun Wukong had a very long dream. In the dream, he turned into a giant ape because of seeing the full moon, and stepped on his grandfather Sun Gohan to death. No. Don't, Sun Wukong shouted and woke up from his dream. After Sun Wukong woke up, he immediately saw Roger standing in front of him, looking at him with a smile. I just fell asleep. No, I knocked you out. Knocked out? Yeah, did you just have a dream? In my dream I turned into a gorilla and trampled my grandfather to death. That is not a dream, but something that will happen in the future. No, impossible, how could I possibly step on my grandfather to death? After hearing this, Sun Wukong said in disbelief. This is true, because we Saiyans can transform into giant apes through the moon in the sky when the moon is full. No, I don't believe it. After hearing this, Sun Wukong still didn't believe it. I know it's a little hard for you to accept, but I can teach you how to control the giant ape. As long as you can control yourself after the transformation, you won't trample your grandfather to death. So how can I control myself after I transform? This requires training. Train, it allows you to transform into a giant ape. But, if I transform into a giant ape, will I hurt innocent people? Roger smiled and said, this is a mountain, where are there any people? Besides, even if you turn into a giant ape, I can still beat you down. Sun Wukong. Really? Of course it's true, and if you can transform into a giant ape, I can also transform into a giant ape. But there is no moon now. Didn't you say that the transformation can only be performed when there is a moon? I can make an artificial moon. Artificial moon. Wow, you are so amazing, you can even make an artificial moon. Roger nodded after hearing this. Then come with me, I will take you to practice somewhere else. Why go anywhere else? Aren't you afraid that you might transform and destroy the house? That's true. After hearing this, Sun Wukong smiled innocently. Then, Roger took Sun Wukong to a meadow on Baozi Mountain. Sun Wukong had already changed into the Saiyan combat suit that Roger had prepared for him. Roger, this suit is so light. Of course, this is our Saiyan battle suit. Combat suit. Yeah, Roger nodded. Wukong, I will create an artificial moon in the sky later. You must try to stay calm. If you really can't stay calm, just think more about your grandfather. Okay, Sun Wukong nodded. After Roger looked at it, he raised his right hand and a round ball of light immediately appeared in his hand. Roger threw the ball of light into the sky, and the ball of light was immediately thrown into the sky and floated in the sky. Wukong, look up at the sky. Good, Sun Wukong said, and immediately raised his head and looked up at the sky. Because Sun Wukong always thought of the scene where Sun Wuhan was trampled to death by him, he was very nervous now, and he was afraid that what happened in his dream would come true. Just when Sun Wukong was extremely nervous, his eyes saw the artificial moon in the sky. And the moment he saw the artificial moon, Sun Wukong's heart immediately beat violently. Then, a lot of black hair grew on his body grew taller and bigger, and he transformed into a giant ape. After Sun Wukong transformed, he immediately roared loudly and stomped his feet hard on the ground. Seeing this, Roger immediately raised his head and looked at the artificial moon he created. With a huge roar, Roger also transformed into a giant ape. Sun Wukong looked at Roger, who had also transformed into a giant ape, and immediately rushed towards Roger. Sun Wukong, I'm Roger. Roger saw this and his figure flashed. He walked around behind Sun Wukong and said. However, Sun Wukong was completely out of control at this moment and could not hear Roger's voice at all. Sun Wukong roared and picked up a huge stone on the ground and threw it at Roger. Roger shouted angrily, and continued to shout at Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong, think about your grandfather. After hearing this, Sun Wukong still did not react. In this way, Sun Wukong kept going towards Roger, and Roger kept dodging, trying to wake up Sun Wukong. But no matter how Roger shouted, Sun Wukong was still out of control. There is no other way, we have to destroy the artificial moon first. Roger said, and fired an energy wave from his right hand, destroying the artificial moon in the sky. After the artificial moon was destroyed, the bodies of the two immediately returned to normal. Sun Wukong fell into a coma because of the severe physical exhaustion. Goku. Just then, an old man ran over from a distance. This man was Sun Wukong's grandfather, Old Sun Gohan. Soon, Old Sun Gohan ran to Sun Wukong and picked him up. Hello, my name is Roger. May I ask if you are Sun Wukong's grandfather? After hearing this, Old Sun Wuhan turned around and looked at Roger. Yes, I am Sun Wukong's grandfather. May I ask who you are? I am a Saiyan just like Son Goku. Saiyan, you should know that Sun Wukong can transform into a giant ape, right? I know, so are you going to take him back? No, I just helped him train so that he could control the giant ape. Besides, our planet has been destroyed long ago. Destroyed? Old Sun Wuhan was shocked. Yes, today's training is over. From today on, I will come to see him every day until he can transform into a giant ape without losing control. Okay, Old Sun Wuhan nodded. Grandpa, if there is nothing else, I will leave first. After hearing this, Old Sun Gohan nodded again. Seeing this, Roger moved away from Baozi Mountain in an instant. Disappeared. Old Sun Gohan was shocked. Then, he returned home with Son Goku in his arms. In the West City, Bulma's house. Bulma was sitting at a table in the backyard with a sad face. A figure suddenly appeared. It was Roger. Roger. Bulma looked at Roger, who suddenly appeared, stood up from the chair immediately, and walked in front of Roger. After hearing this, Roger nodded. Bulma, where is your sister? Bulma was immediately annoyed when she heard this. You know my sister. No, I just asked casually. Roger saw the rich lady lose her temper and hurriedly said with a smile. My sister has left the Earth. Leaving the Earth. Yes, 2 years ago, an alien named Jake came to my father to help him repair his damaged spaceship. Jake said he was a patrolman from the Galactic Patrol. My sister was very interested in the universe, so she left the Earth with him. Is that so? Roger laughed. Yeah, where have you been for the past 2 years? Practice. So you don't want to study? No need. Roger thought to himself. He had studied for nearly 20 years in his previous life. I don't want to study anymore. Then Roger, can you also take me for a walk in the universe? Do you want to go to space too? Yes, the universe is so vast, who doesn't want to travel in the universe? Well then, if I have time next time, I will take you for a walk in the universe. What day is that? Within this 1 month. Okay, let's make it a deal. Roger nodded. Then, Roger and Bulma chatted for a while and left. The next morning, Roger came to Sun Wukong's house early to find Sun Wukong. Goku. Roger, you're here. Yes, then let's go to training quickly. Okay. After a while, Roger brought Sun Wukong to the grass where they practiced yesterday. Old Sun Wukong also came with them. Goku, are you ready? Ready. After seeing this, Roger immediately created an artificial moon and transformed into a giant ape with Sun Wukong. After Sun Wukong transformed, he lost his mind all of a sudden, just like before. Wukong. Old Son Gohan saw this and immediately shouted to Son Goku. After hearing this, Son Goku remained unmoved. At this moment, Roger used the transformation technique to change his body back to human form and came to Old Son Gohan and said, "Grandpa, please put your hand on my back and I will transmit your voice to Sun Wukong's heart." Good. After hearing this, Old Son Gohan immediately put his hand on Roger's back and shouted to Sun Wukong. Goku. Old Son Gohan used Roger to help transmit the voice to Sun Wukong's heart. When Sun Wukong heard Old Son Gohan's voice, he immediately stopped attacking, covered his head with his hands and screamed. Wukong. After seeing this scene, Old Son Gohan immediately became a little worried about Son Goku. After a while, Son Goku lost control again and attacked the two. Roger moved Old Son Gohan to a distance, and then tried to wake up Son Goku with the Rui stick and Son Goku's clothes. Although Son Goku was touched by this, he still failed to control the giant ape form. Although it failed again this time, Son Goku transformed into a giant ape this time and his consciousness was awakened. This is a good start. After the training, Roger said goodbye to Old Son Gohan and left the earth. Time flies, and a month has passed in a blink of an eye. After a month of training, Sun Wukong finally mastered the giant ape form. At this time, Roger was standing outside Sun Wukong's house, ready to say goodbye to Sun Wukong and his friends. Congratulations, Wukong, you have finally mastered the giant ape form. Sun Wukong nodded. Thank you, Roger. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to control the giant ape. After hearing this, Roger nodded and said, Goku, even though you control the giant ape form, your tail is your huge weakness. Tail. Yes, our Saiyan tails will lose their strength if they are caught by someone, but if we practice, we can still overcome this weakness. So how can I overcome this weakness? Sun Wukong asked. You can look at the monkeys in the mountains and see how they use their tails. Monkey. Right, Roger said, looking towards Old Son Gohan. Grandpa, you know Master Roshi, right? Old Son Wuhan was surprised. Roger, how do you know that I know Master Wu Tian? Grandpa, did I forget? I can predict the future. Sorry, I really forgot for a moment. Old Son Wuhan laughed. Sun Wukong is still young now. When he grows up, you can let him worship Master Roshi. Okay, Old Son Gohan nodded. Grandpa, who is the Roshi master that Roger is talking about? That's my master, Old Son Wuhan said with a smile. Well, Wukong, old man, it's almost time for me to go too. See you later. See you later, Roger replied. Roger, where are you going? Sun Wukong asked. It may be on Earth, or it may leave Earth. Will we meet again in the future? Yes, then I'm leaving. Okay, Roger said, and he moved instantly and disappeared in Baozi Mountain. Grandpa, he's gone. Yes, he left, but he said that you will definitely meet again. After hearing this, Sun Wukong nodded heavily. In the West City, Bulma's house. Bulma was sitting at a table in the backyard drinking a drink when a figure suddenly appeared. This person was Roger. Roger, you're here. Bulma was very happy to see Roger and ran over. After hearing this, Roger nodded and said, Bulma, are you ready for the camera? Ready. Then let's go now. Good. Seeing this, Roger teleported and brought Bulma to a small island on Namek. Bulma looked around at the green sea and sky and said, Is this the Namek you were talking about? Yeah, what do you think of this place? Not bad, Bulma said, taking out a universal capsule and throwing it on the ground. Bang! With a puff of white smoke, a red backpack appeared on the ground. Bulma opened the backpack, took out a camera, and took pictures of the surroundings. Okay, wait a minute. After waiting for a long time, Bulma finally finished taking pictures. Okay Roger, take me somewhere else. Good, Roger said, and with a teleportation, he brought Bulma to the Namekian village. Here it is. This is the Namek village I told you about. Roger. At this time, a Namekian who had seen Roger greeted Roger. Because the Namekian looked a little scary, Bulma was immediately frightened and hugged Roger with both hands. After seeing this, Roger touched Bulma's head and said, "It's okay, Bulma, the Namekians are all very kind." "Roger, who is he?" the Namekian asked. "He is my friend, his name is Bulma." "Friend, yes, then why did she come here with me?" "She said she wanted me to take her for a walk in the universe." "So that's it." After hearing this, the Namekian said to Bulma enthusiastically, "Bulma, this is our Namek village. If you need help leading the way, I can lead the way for you." "No need, Uncle Moore, we can just stroll around here," Roger said with a smile. "Okay then." After saying that, Roger took Bulma for a walk in the village. The Namekians in the village all greeted the two of them enthusiastically. Bulma's fear of the Namekians was reduced a lot. After a long time, the two of them finished walking around the village. Bulma suddenly smiled at Roger. "What's wrong, Bulma?" Roger saw Bulma smiling at him, and immediately had a bad feeling in his heart. Because usually Bulma smiled at him, it was because she wanted something from him. "Roger, you can fly, right? How about you take me to the sky and let me see the scenery on the ground from the sky?" "Yes, you can, but how do you want to fly?" "How to fly?" "Yes, do you want me to fly in the sky with you in my arms or fly in the sky with you on my back?" "Carry it on your back." Bulma thought for a moment and said. After hearing this, Roger immediately walked to Bulma and squatted down slightly. Bulma blushed after seeing this. From childhood to adulthood, it seemed that no one else had ever carried her except her father. "Come on, Bulma." Bulma walked up and grabbed Roger's shoulders with both hands. Roger straightened his body, carried Bulma on his back and said, "All right, Bulma, I'm going to start flying into the sky now." "Okay," Bulma said with a red face. After hearing this, Roger immediately flew into the sky. Soon, Roger flew to a height of several dozen meters. "It's so high." Bulma looked down and said with some fear in her heart. After hearing this, Roger smiled and said, "Bulma, if you're scared, let's go down now." No, I'm not afraid." Although Bulma said this, her hands were holding Roger's shoulders tighter. "All right then," Roger said, and took Bulma flying in the sky for a while. "It's so beautiful. When I learn to fly a plane, I will come here again." After hearing this, Roger laughed dryly, and a sigh rose in his heart. Rich people are rich people, and they can learn to fly airplanes at will. After a while, Roger flew down from midair. "Bulma, it's getting late, should we go back?" Bulma nodded. Seeing this, Roger teleported and brought Bulma back to Earth. After returning home, Bulma immediately ran home in a hurry. Roger was stunned at first, and then laughed as if he had thought of something. After a while, Bulma came out of the house, and Roger said goodbye to Bulma and prepared to go back. "Roger, when are you coming over next time?" "I don't know, maybe it will take a few years." "Several years?" "Yes. Why does it take so long?" "I want you to take me to other planets. I want to practice." "Well, you must come to my house when you are free." Roger nodded. Then Bulma, "Am I going back?" "Yes." Bulma nodded. Seeing this, Roger teleported away from the Earth. The northern Milky Way, the star planet. The star planet is very far away from the Earth. Even if you take a spaceship, it will take more than 10 days to get there. The star planet is inhabited by star planet people, who look very similar to Earthlings. The only difference is that everyone here knows magic, and they are all dressed as magicians. On this planet, there is an academy called the Magic Academy. The Magic Academy is a school that specializes in teaching magic. The fortune teller Granny and Zuno graduated from this school. Outside the Magic Academy, there is a child standing at the door, looking at the academy. This person is Roger. This is the Magic Academy. Roger muttered, and walked towards the Magic Academy in front of him. Just as Roger was about to step into the academy, a circular purple pattern suddenly appeared, blocking Roger. After seeing it, Roger immediately stopped in place and looked carefully at the magic in front of him. This was his first time to come into contact with magic in this world. "I see." After a while, Roger pointed his right index finger at the purple pattern in front of him, and the purple pattern slid down like rain and disappeared without a trace. At this moment, a woman riding a broom flew down from the sky and landed in front of Roger. The woman's name was Yiluo, and she was a teacher in this school. Who are you? Why did you break into our school? Yiluo asked Roger angrily. Hello, my name is Roger. I come to your academy to learn magic from you. Roger nodded. So you are not from our planet, right? No, I'm from Earth. Earth, yes, can I come to your academy to study magic? No, our academy only accepts people from other planets. Well, it was actually the fortune teller who recommended me to your academy. Fortune-telling mother-in-law. Yes, she now lives on Earth. Earth, you mean, that senior? Roger nodded. Seeing this, Yiluo looked at Roger and said, Are you sure you want to enter our college? After hearing this, Roger nodded again. Well, since you want to enter our college, you have to pass our entrance examination. Entrance exam. Yes, anyone with an evil heart is not allowed to enter the academy. So when will I take the exam? Now, I will use a kind of magic later. This magic will make the body of people with evil hearts swell rapidly, or even explode and die, so you must think carefully about whether you want to take the exam or not. I will take the exam, Roger said with a firm look. Have you thought it through? Think it through. Okay, Yiluo said, and immediately recited a spell to Roger. Roger stood there without any reaction. Yiluo looked at him and recited the spell again. After a while, Yiluo saw that Roger still had no reaction, and said to Roger with a serious face. Roger, congratulations on passing the entrance exam of our college. All you have to do next is pay the tuition and you can come to study in our school. How much is tuition? 50,000 star coins a year. Star coin, right. Then can I enroll now and pay the tuition later? No, the college will only approve your admission if you have paid all the tuition fees. Okay, Roger said, and turned to leave the Magic Academy. Although he didn't have the currency of this planet, he could exchange things for money to see what was valuable on this planet. After half a day of running around, Roger finally exchanged currency on the star planet and entered the Magic Academy. Time flies, and a year has passed in a blink of an eye. During this year, Roger spent most of his time studying at the Magic Academy, except for cultivation. Because of his extraordinary comprehension, Roger learned all the magic, divination, and alchemy of the Magic Academy in just 1 year. He thus became the #1 genius in the Magic Academy. At this time, Roger was ready to graduate and leave the academy. Yiluo, who had brought Roger to school, was now reluctant to look at Roger who was about to leave. The students were excellent, and they, as teachers, were naturally proud. But they also knew that they could not keep Roger. A genius like Roger was rare even in tens of thousands of years. Roger, you are the best student I have ever taught. Even if you leave, the door of our Magic Academy will always be open to you. Roger nodded. I understand, teacher. When I have time, I will come back to the college. Okay, Yiluo smiled and nodded. Then, Roger and the teacher of the Magic Academy hugged each other and left the Star Ball. Returning to the Kai King God realm, Roger felt a little unforgettable about this year's learning journey. However, he also knew that all good things must come to an end, and he would have to leave one day. Time flies, and 2 years have passed in a blink of an eye. After 2 years of training, Roger's strength has increased a lot. At this time, he was sitting on a piece of grass, looking up at the sky. Suddenly, Roger clenched his hands tightly, and an extremely amazing aura emanated from his whole body, rapidly rising upwards. Ah! With a huge roar, Roger transformed into a Super Saiyan. After Roger transformed, he did not stop raising his energy, but continued to raise his energy upwards. Soon, Roger raised his energy to the full power of a Super Saiyan. Ah! With a louder roar, Roger's hair stood up even more, and the flame-like aura on his body turned into a fire-breathing aura. As his body emitted energy, lightning swirled around him. This was the Super Saiyan 2. I have transformed into Super Saiyan 2. Jebet, who was standing not far away, said when he saw Roger transforming. East Kai nodded. Just when the two thought Roger would not transform again, Roger lowered his body forward and raised his aura again. The ground around him shook violently under the influence of Roger's aura. What? East Kai was shocked. He did not expect Roger to continue to raise his aura. At this moment, Roger roared loudly, and his aura suddenly surged upward. East Kai and Jupiter were both speechless because of Roger's powerful aura. Just as the two were surprised, Roger's hair grew to his waist, his eyebrows disappeared and his brow bones were close to his eye sockets. Dark green pupils appeared in his originally single light green eyeballs, and the golden aura on his body turned into light and fixed. This is the third stage of Super Saiyan. Bang! After Roger completed the transformation, he immediately released the energy gathered outside his body. An extremely amazing momentum appeared and blew around. A huge dust storm was immediately raised on the ground around Roger. East Kai and Jupiter immediately covered their eyes with their hands after seeing this. After a while, the dust on the ground dissipated, and East Kai looked at Roger, who had transformed into the third stage of Super Saiyan, and asked, "Roger, what is this? Is it Super Saiyan 3? Yes, Lord Kaioshin. That's amazing, Roger. I think you can definitely defeat the Demon King Dabura now." Roger nodded. In fact, he could have defeated Dabura a long time ago, but there was no point in defeating him. "How about Roger? Let's go to the demon world and destroy Dabura." "Lord Kaioshin, do you know where Dabura is?" "I don't know, but can't you predict the future?" "The future I predict is my own future. It will take at least 20 years for me to meet him." 20? More than 20 years. Yes, you are already so strong now. If you wait for another 20 years, won't you be able to kill him easily?" Roger nodded again. In fact, he can kill him easily now. "By the way, Roger, you are so powerful now, maybe you can pull out the legendary sword." Excalibur. Yes, the name of the sword is Kaioshinkan. According to legend, as long as you pull out Kaioshinkan, you will gain incomparably powerful strength. "Where is the sword now?" "The sword is now over there in the pond." "Pool of water." "Yes, I'll find out if I come with you." Roger nodded. Seeing this, East Kaishan immediately took the two of them forward. After a while, East Kaishan brought Roger to a stone pillar in a pond. On the stone pillar was a sword that was still on the ground except for the hilt. And this sword was the sword of the King of Kings. "Roger, this sword is the Kaioshin sword, can you see if you can pull it out?" "Okay, Lord Kaioshin, what are you doing?" The two nodded and flew into the sky. Seeing this, Roger grabbed the hilt of the Kaioshin sword on the ground with both hands. With a loud shout, Roger pulled upward with both hands and pulled out the sword Kai in one go. The upper part of the stone pillar was instantly shattered because of the pulling out of the sword Kai. A large number of stones fell from the stone pillar and landed on the pool below, causing large and small splashes of water. Roger stomped his feet hard and flew into the air with the sword Kai in both hands. "Jepitel, pull it out." "Yes, but I didn't expect Roger to pull out the Kaioshin sword so easily," East Kaioshin said with a smile. At this moment, Roger flew to the grass in front of the pond with the Kaioshin sword in both hands. East Kaioshin and Jupiter also flew over after seeing this. "Congratulations, Roger, you pulled out the legendary Kaioshin sword." After hearing this, Roger nodded and changed his body back to normal. Although the strength of the third stage of Super Saiyan is strong, it consumes too much physical strength. After Roger's body returned to normal, the Kaioshin sword in his hand, which was not very heavy, suddenly became extremely heavy. "How about it, Roger? Don't you feel your strength getting stronger?" "No, but I feel that this sword is quite heavy." "Sword?" "Yes, why don't you come over and try to hold this sword?" After hearing this, East Kaioshin coughed and looked towards Jebit. Jebito. When Jebito saw the East Kai King God's gesture, he immediately understood what the East Kai King God meant and walked up to Roger and said, "Roger, let me see this sword." "Okay, but this sword is really heavy, you have to be careful." "Okay." After reading it, Roger immediately handed the Kaioshin sword to Jebit and said, "Then I have to let go of my hand. You must hold on to this sword." "Good." Seeing this, Roger immediately let go. At the moment when Roger let go, Jebit immediately felt the Kaioshin sword in his hands become extremely heavy, and his body fell to the ground uncontrollably. Bang! With a loud bang, the Kaioshin sword fell heavily to the ground, raising a large amount of dust on the ground. After seeing this, Jebit, who was lying on the ground, immediately trembled. "Are you okay, Jebito?" East Kai King God asked Jebito with concern. "No, it's okay," Jebit said, standing up from the ground. "It's good that you're fine." After hearing this, Jebet nodded. Then he walked to the front of the Kaioshinkan and tried to pick it up from the ground. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't pick it up. His hands turned red because of holding the sword. Jebet, East Kai saw this and immediately understood how heavy this Kaishan sword was. Lord Kai, how about you give it a try? Roger smiled and asked East Kai. No need for that. East Kaioshin waved his hands after hearing this. Roger immediately picked up the Kaioshin sword from the ground. Although this sword is heavy, it is still useful for training. East Kai, is that so? In that case, you must practice sword skills well. Chapter 31. Earth, Kame Island, Kame House. Old Son Gohan brought Son Goku here today to let him worship Kame as his master. Son Gohan, Master Roshi was very surprised to see the newcomer. Since Son Gohan finished his studies, they had not seen each other for more than 10 years. Although they had been exchanging letters were still not as good as meeting in person. It's been a long time since I last saw you, Master Wu Tian. Old Son Gohan smiled and said to Master Kame. Master Kame nodded. He is the grandson Son Wukong whom I mentioned in the letter, and Wukong is called Teacher Wu Tian. Teacher Wu Tian, then sit down and talk. Okay. Old Son Gohan said, and sat down with Son Goku. Son Gohan, why did you suddenly come here today? Teacher Wu Tian, I actually brought Wukong here to become your disciple today. Apprenticeship, you mean? Wukong. Yes, Wukong is very talented. If he can get guidance from Master Wu Tian, he will definitely be able to make further progress. No, Son Gohan, you are the one who taught this child, right? Anyway, I have taught you everything I have learned. Teacher Wu Tian, I think you should teach him, because I have already taught this child everything I can. But, Teacher Wu Tian, please don't refuse. I believe you can teach better than me. Well then Son Gohan, you will stay here, right? Old Son Gohan thought for a moment and said, since Wukong is training here, I will disturb you for a while. After hearing this, Master Turtle immediately laughed. We had hot pot that night. It had been a long time since we had a drink together. Old Son Wuhan nodded. It's a pity that the Bull Demon King didn't come, so the three of us, the master and the apprentice, are reunited. In this way, Son Wukong became a disciple of Master Turtle. Time flies, and 3 years have passed. 3 years have passed, and Roger's strength has increased a lot. Son Wukong, who is now a disciple of Master Roshi, has made rapid progress under the guidance of Master Roshi. Moreover, Son Wukong has entered the heaven to practice under the guidance of Roger. It's time. Roger looked at Son Wukong in the crystal ball, used divination, found the rice cooker that sealed Piccolo, tore off the seal on the rice cooker, and released Piccolo. As a white light lit up, a man with green skin, wearing a dark blue Taoist robe with the word, Demon, printed on it, and tied a bright purple-blue wide belt appeared. He was Piccolo. Who are you? After Piccolo came out, he quickly saw Roger standing next to him. Someone who is about to kill you, Roger said, and raised his right index finger. A golden ray of light emanated from his fingertips and penetrated the body of the great demon King Piccolo. Puff! Piccolo spat out a mouthful of blood, and it was hard to believe that he died just like that. When he just came out of the seal, he had even thought about killing all the martial artists on Earth and ruling the entire Earth. Unfortunately, all this was just a momentary fantasy. However, although Piccolo's body was pierced, he still had a breath left. Piccolo opened his mouth and took a breath, and spit out a white giant egg from his stomach, flying away. And this white giant egg was Piccolo. Who are you? Piccolo asked with all his strength. Roger. After hearing this, Piccolo swallowed his last breath and fell to the ground. In the West City, at Bulma's house. Bulma was sitting on a table and chair in the backyard, reading the latest magazine with a bored look on her face. 3 years later, Bulma was already 14 years old. Now she had grown into a graceful young lady. So boring. Bulma put the magazine on the table, tilted her head down, and looked towards the grass. Suddenly, a figure appeared. This person was Roger. Roger. When Bulma saw Roger, she immediately stood up from her chair and walked over. Long time no see, Bulma. Long time no see, but why do you still look so small? We Saiyans develop relatively late. I see. Then when will you Saiyans develop? 16, 17 years old. Oh, that's a bit late indeed. By the way, Roger, why are you here today? Roger never comes to visit a guest without a reason. I'm here to see your dad today to do the gravity room. Gravity chamber. Yes. Then can't you do it yourself? That will take a long time. Roger laughed. You guy. Where is your father now? He is repairing the machine in front now. Then I'll go find your father now. After a while, Roger found Dr. Brief. Long time no see, Dr. Brief. Are you Roger? Yeah, Dr. Brief. Then why are you still so young? We Saiyans develop relatively late. So that's it. So, where are you coming from? I'd like your help in making a gravity room. Gravity chamber. Yes, but I have never done this before. It's okay, I believe you can do it. Okay, I'll try it. Roger nodded. Time flies, and a month has passed. After a month, Dr. Brief finally made the gravity chamber. This gravity chamber was made from the Saiyan spaceship that Roger sold to Dr. Brief. At this time, Dr. Brief was showing Roger around the gravity chamber he made. This is the gravity room I made according to your requirements. This is the switch of the gravity room. The one on the left is the switch to increase gravity. Each time you press it, the gravity doubles, and it can increase to 100 times in total. The one on the right is the switch to reduce gravity. Each time you press it, you can reduce the gravity by 1 time. The switch in the middle returns the gravity to 0. The buttons on these machines allow you to directly enter the multiples, because pressing them one by one is too troublesome. I got it, Dr. Brief. This gravity room is very dangerous. If you want to practice in this gravity room, don't force yourself. Dr. Brief warned. Don't worry, Dr. Brief, I will never force myself. If there's nothing else, I'll go to work. Okay, Dr. Brief, take care. After hearing this, Dr. Brief nodded and left the gravity room. Seeing Dr. Brief leave, Roger immediately input 20 times the gravity into the switch machine. As the numbers were input, the gravity in the gravity room was instantly turned on, and a huge gravity immediately appeared and pressed on Roger. Roger stood there quietly as if nothing had happened. Is this 20 times gravity? Roger muttered to himself, and raised the gravity of the gravity room to 50 times. After the gravity was raised 50 times, Roger had a slight reaction. Then, he directly raised the gravity room to the highest level, which was 100 times gravity. I see. After feeling the pressure of 100 gravity, Roger seemed to have realized something and entered a state of enlightenment. It was unknown how long it had passed before Bulma's voice came from outside the gravity room, and Roger woke up from his state of enlightenment. It's time to eat, Roger. Bulma shouted outside the gravity room. When Roger heard Bulma's voice, he immediately restored the gravity of the gravity room to 0 and walked out of the gravity room. When Bulma saw Roger coming out, she immediately walked over with a little anger in her heart. Roger, I just called you, why didn't you reply me? It was too noisy in there, I couldn't hear it. Really, let's go eat then. Is it noon already? Yes, by the way, Roger, didn't you promise me that when I grow up, you would take me to find the Dragon Ball? Roger nodded. Now that I'm grown up, when will you take me to find the Dragon Balls? But you are only 14 years old now. 14 years old should be considered a minor. Roger laughed. Humph. Bulma snorted coldly. But I'm taller than you. Really? After hearing this, Roger's body immediately grew larger, and he became more than 2 meters tall. However, although his body grew larger, he still looked like a child. This was what Roger had learned from the Yodrat people, the gigantic. Roger, what's going on? How did your body become so big? After hearing this, Roger immediately changed his body back to its original size. This is called gigantism. Gigantic, right. Is this also martial arts? I guess so. Then when will you take me to find the Dragon Balls? In 2 years. Yeah, Roger nodded. Then we two have a deal, you can't change your mind. Good. In the afternoon, after waking up from his nap, Roger went to the gravity room to practice again. In the morning, Roger had comprehended some laws of gravity under the gravity applied by the gravity room. However, because it was close to noon, and Bulma's interruption, he woke up from his enlightenment. So in the afternoon, Roger planned to continue to comprehend the laws of time. Time flies, and a week has passed in a blink of an eye. In this week, Roger finally comprehended the complete law of gravity. North Kai King Planet. At this time, North Kai King was sleeping leisurely on a recliner, and a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. This person was Roger. Lord Kai, Roger shouted to the North Kai. After hearing this, the North Kai woke up immediately, rubbed his eyes and said, "Hey, isn't this Roger? Roger, why are you here?" Roger smiled and said, "Lord Kai, I need your help with something." "What's up?" "I want someone to practice with you." "Cultivation." "Who?" "His name is Son Goku, and he is a Saiyan." "Son Goku. This name doesn't seem to be a Saiyan, right?" "Yes, this is his Earth name, and his Saiyan name is Kakarot." "Earth's name, is he also on Earth?" Roger nodded. "Roger, are you Saiyans all on Earth now?" "No, it's just the two of us now." "Oh, so when are you bringing him over?" "Wait a minute. So what is his strength?" "Only a few hundred combat power." "Just a few hundred. Then Lord Kai, I will go and bring him here now." "Yes." King Kai nodded. After a while, Roger took Sun Wukong to the North Kai King Planet. "Lord Kai, this is the Son Goku I told you about." "Goku, he is the Lord Kai I told you about." "Lord Kai." North Kai nodded. "Then Lord Kai, if there are no other questions, I will leave Goku to you." "Good." In this way, Sun Wukong stayed on the North Kai King Planet to practice. Time flies, and a year and a half has passed. After a year and a half of training on the North Kai King Planet, Sun Wukong's strength has reached 30,000. Because he has been away from Earth for too long, Sun Wukong is going back to Earth today to see Master Roshi and his grandfather. Then King Kai, Barbarous, and Gregory, I will go back. Good. Gurgle gurgle. One person and two pets nodded. In the southern Milky Way, on a blue planet, Vegeta was leading Nappa and Raditz to invade the planet. A figure suddenly appeared in front of the three of them. This person was Roger. A year and a half had passed, and Roger had grown to 1.75 meters tall. "Who is it?" Vegeta asked Roger with a vigilant look on his face. "Saiyan." At this time, Nappa, who was standing nearby, said after seeing the tail behind Roger. "What?" Raditz was shocked. "Isn't Kakarot the only Saiyan still alive besides us?" "No, Raditz, have you forgotten there is another person?" Vegeta said with a serious expression. "You mean?" "That's right, it's the low-level warrior who escaped from planet Vegeta." Lower-level warrior. After hearing this, Roger immediately laughed. Although he was born as a lower-level warrior, his current strength is much stronger than theirs. "How come I said something wrong?" Gita laughed. Although he didn't know how Roger suddenly appeared, as the Prince of the Saiyans, he was naturally qualified to look down on Roger. "Yes, I was born a low-level warrior, but now I can kill all of you with just one finger." "What did you say?" Nappa was furious when he heard this. As a famous Saiyan, he had never been looked down upon by lower-level Saiyan warriors. Vegeta's expression became serious after hearing this. Although he was arrogant, he was never a reckless person. Otherwise, he would not have survived Frieza's hands. "Raditz, turn on the combat power detector and see his combat power." "It's Prince Vegeta," Raditz said, and immediately turned on the combat power detector on his left eye. DD 5. Combat power 5. Raditz was stunned when he saw the value displayed on the combat power detector. Because no matter how low the combat power of a Saiyan is, the combat power of an adult cannot be 5. And Roger in front of them was so arrogant to them just now. 5. Raditz, is your combat power detector broken? Even if a Saiyan has a low combat power, his combat power after adulthood cannot be 5. Nappa said, "I don't know, Nabunaba, can you try using your combat power detector?" "Okay," Nappa said, and immediately turned on the combat power detector on his left eye. DD 5. This is weird, what's going on? My combat power detector also shows 5. What? Raditz was shocked, not knowing what was going on. At this moment, Vegeta, who was standing beside them, said to the two of them with a serious face. It's not that his fighting ability is damaged, but that he deliberately hides his strength. Deliberately hiding combat effectiveness. Yes, but you don't have to be afraid, he may just be bluffing. As long as you two attack him, you will know his true strength. Well, in that case, you will deal with him first, Raditz, right? Nappa said, folding his arms. Okay, Raditz said, clenched his hands, and rushed towards Roger like the wind. Roger stood still. Just when Raditz was about to rush to Roger, he suddenly felt an attack on his neck from behind, and his brain suddenly lost consciousness and fell to the ground. Raditz. Nappa was shocked when he saw Raditz suddenly fall to the ground. Although Vegeta did not speak, he was extremely alert to Roger in front of him. Because just now, even he did not see Roger's move. Don't worry, he's fine, I just knocked him out. Roger said with a smile. Nappa. Knocked out? Yes, actually I have no ill intention in coming to you today. After all, there are only a few of us Saiyans left now. What do you want us to do? Vegeta asked. It's nothing actually, I just want to ask you, do you want to resist Frieza? Resist King Frieza? Nappa was shocked. Vegeta's face changed when he heard this. Although he wanted to destroy Frieza, he also knew clearly that with his current strength, it was impossible to defeat Frieza. Why don't you dare? Roger laughed. Vegeta snorted coldly when he heard this. Nappa, get rid of this guy for me. It's Prince Vegeta. After hearing this, Nappa immediately rushed towards Roger. Roger smiled, and Nappa suddenly felt a huge gravity in his body, and his body instantly fell to the ground. This is the law of gravity. Nappa supported himself with his hands and barely stood up from the ground. After seeing this, Roger immediately increased the gravity multiple. Nappa fell to the ground again. Nappa, what's wrong with you? Vegeta asked Nappa. No, I don't know, I just suddenly felt my body was so heavy, as if something was pressing me down. My body feels so heavy. Could it be gravity? Yes, it is gravity. Vegeta, since you are willing to serve Frieza for life, I won't force you. If there is nothing else, I will leave first, Roger said, putting his right index finger on his forehead and preparing to leave. Wait, at this moment, Vegeta suddenly shouted. How? You just said you wanted to resist Frieza, right? No, I just asked you if you want to resist Frieza. What do you mean? Do you want us to die? I can help you defeat Frieza. Help us? In that case, why don't you defeat him yourself? Don't you want to defeat him? Roger asked him. Vegeta was speechless after hearing this. Actually, it was Frieza who destroyed Planet Vegeta, right? I don't know. After hearing this, Vegeta immediately pretended to be stupid. Vegeta, I forgot to tell you just now that all your combat power detectors have been bugged, so Frieza knows everything about our conversation just now. What? What? Nappa was shocked. Vegeta snorted coldly after hearing this. So what? If you have figured it out, come to Earth. Earth? Yes, Kakarot is there too, and his strength now surpasses yours. Surpassed me. Vegeta's eyes widened and he couldn't believe it. Yes, in the near future, he should be able to become a Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan. Nappa, who was lying on the ground, was shocked. Super Saiyan is a super warrior in Saiyan legend, and only one appears once every 1,000 years. Kakarot is a Saiyan born with only 2 points of combat power, how could he be a Super Saiyan? Impossible. Kakarot, a low-level Saiyan warrior, how could he become a legendary warrior, a Super Saiyan? Vegeta shouted at Roger excitedly. Since you don't believe it, forget it, I'm leaving now. Roger said, and disappeared from the spot in an instant. After Roger left, the gravity on Nappa's body disappeared immediately. No, it's gone. Vegeta nodded. So Prince Vegeta, what should we do next? Heading to Earth. What, Prince Vegeta, are you really going to Earth? I went to Earth just to confirm if what he said was true. But Prince Vegeta, will King Frieza not agree? After hearing this, Vegeta glanced at Nappa. Don't worry, I will explain this to him. Oh well. In the southern Milky Way, there is a huge disc-shaped spaceship sailing in the universe. This spaceship is Frieza's spaceship. At this moment, Frieza was sitting leisurely on a flying chair, holding a glass of red wine that was half full. Next to him stood Sabo and Dodoria. Suddenly, a soldier walked in from the cabin door and saluted Frieza. Meet King Frieza. What's up? To King Frieza, we just overheard that a Saiyan wants Lord Vegeta and the others to rebel against you. Resist me. Yes. The soldier nodded. What did Vegeta say? Frieza said coldly. Lord Vegeta, he said, the Saiyan wanted them to die. Frieza laughed immediately after hearing this. Vegeta, he still has some self-awareness. But, Vegeta and the others just set off for Earth. Earth, that Saiyan said that the Saiyan named Kakarot was stronger than Vegeta, and he also said, he might become a Super Saiyan in the future. Frieza laughed immediately after hearing this. I didn't expect that the Saiyans still believe in that ridiculous legend. Then King Frieza, should we send people to wipe out these Saiyans? Dodoria asked. After hearing this, Frieza immediately looked at the soldier. By the way, I forgot to ask you just now, why did Vegeta let that Saiyan go? Lord Vegeta did not take action, but Lord Nappa and Lord Raditz were both defeated by that Saiyan. Oh, what's this Saiyan's name? They didn't mention the Saiyan's name during their conversation, they just mentioned the lower-level warrior. A low-level warrior? You mean, that Saiyan is a low-level Saiyan warrior? Yes, the soldier nodded. Could King Frieza be the Saiyan who escaped? It's possible, Frieza said, turning to the soldier in front of him. Contact Vegeta and ask them to come back to me. If they don't want to come back, then they should never come back. Yes, King Frieza. Earth. Sun Wukong had returned to Kame Island and saw Kame Sennin looking at the photo album with a happy face. Grandpa Turtle Master. Sun Wukong shouted to Turtle Master with a smile. After hearing Sun Wukong's voice, Turtle Master, who was watching in fascination, immediately put down the photo album in his hand and saw Sun Wukong. Goku, you're back. Yes, when did you come back? Today. Time flies, and a month has passed in the blink of an eye. Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz boarded a spaceship and flew in space for a month. Finally, they arrived on Earth today. At this time, the spaceship of the three people has landed in a deserted mountain. Is this the Earth? Nappa looked around and said. As soon as he finished speaking, a figure flew down from the sky. This person was Sun Wukong. Kakarot. Although Raditz had never seen Son Goku, he still recognized him from his hairstyle. My name is not Kakarot, my name is Son Goku. Raditz. Son Goku. I don't care whether you are Kakarot or Son Goku, I ask you, do you know Roger? Yes, I know him, what's wrong? Did he ask you to come? No, he just told me that you would come over. So where is he now? Have no idea, don't know, Sun Wukong nodded. In that case, Raditz, you take care of him. Yes, is there any problem? Vegeta turned his head and said to Raditz. No, Raditz shook his head after hearing this. He swallowed his saliva immediately. If he hadn't met Roger before, he had absolute confidence that he could defeat Sun Wukong. But since he was defeated by Roger, he had some shadows in his heart about Roger, so he also believed Roger's words in his heart. Sun Wukong glanced at Raditz lightly and said, You are no match for me. Raditz clenched his fists immediately after hearing this. Why don't you do it? Vegeta said coldly. I'll do it right away. After Raditz heard Vegeta's words, the fear in his heart was immediately suppressed by his fear of Vegeta. With a loud shout, Raditz raised his right fist and rushed towards Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong stood still. Bang! Just as Raditz was about to get close to Sun Wukong, he was suddenly hit hard in the abdomen. Raditz screamed loudly, fell to the ground and fainted. Raditz, Nappa said in horror. Then he quickly turned on the combat power detector to check Sun Wukong's combat power value. DD 300, 300. When Nappa saw the value of Sun Wukong's combat power, he immediately showed a trace of surprise on his face. At this time, Vegeta, who was standing beside him, reminded Nappa. Nappa, that is not Kakarot's true combat power value. He should be hiding his true combat power just like Roger. Hidden, yes, then it's your turn next. I'll do it. After hearing this, Nappa's body immediately trembled. At this time, he also believed Roger's words just like Raditz. Why, are you scared too? No, I'll do it right away. Nappa said, roaring loudly, and rushed towards Sun Wukong as fast as lightning. Sun Wukong stood still. Soon, Nappa rushed in front of Sun Wukong and punched forward with his right fist with all his strength. Call out. Sun Wukong dodged Nappa's attack by moving sideways. What? Nappa was startled and attacked with both fists. Sun Wukong moved slightly and easily dodged Nappa's attack. Vegeta saw that Nappa's attack could not hit Sun Wukong, and he clenched his hands tightly. At this moment, Nappa kicked Sun Wukong with his right foot. Bang! Sun Wukong raised his left hand and blocked Nappa's right kick. What? Nappa was shocked. Is this all you have? After hearing this, Nappa immediately retracted his right foot and stepped back. Well, in that case, let you try my trick. Ha! Nappa said, and immediately opened his mouth, and a golden energy wave shot out from his mouth, attacking Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong clapped his right hand casually, and the golden energy wave fell behind him like an arc. With a loud bang, the energy wave exploded on the ground. An extremely huge storm appeared, sweeping in all directions. It was actually bounced back. Nappa was shocked. Then, he clapped his hands forward quickly, and a large amount of energy waves were launched from his hands, attacking Sun Wukong. This was the famous prince's fighting method in the Dragon Ball world. Boom, boom, boom. With huge explosions, the energy waves attacked by Nappa exploded around Sun Wukong. The thick smoke produced by the large amount of explosions soon covered Sun Wukong's body. Whoosh! After seeing this, Nappa immediately stopped attacking and burst into laughter. Now you know how powerful I am, right? As soon as he finished speaking, a figure slowly walked out from the thick smoke. This person was Sun Wukong. How could it be? Nappa saw that Sun Wukong was unharmed, and he subconsciously stepped back a few steps. At this moment, Sun Wukong flashed in front of Nappa, and hit Nappa's abdomen with his right fist. Nappa screamed loudly, covered his abdomen with both hands, and fell to the ground. Vegeta looked at the fallen Nappa and said in disbelief. Could it be that what he said was true? No, it's impossible. How could I be surpassed by a lower-level Saiyan warrior? I have already defeated both of them. Do you want to fight me or just end it here? Sun Wukong asked. Vegeta laughed immediately after hearing this. Needless to say, I will choose to continue fighting with you. My strength is completely different from theirs. Is that so? After hearing this, Sun Wukong said calmly. HMPH. Vegeta snorted coldly, stomped his feet hard on the ground, and rushed towards Sun Wukong. Soon, Vegeta rushed in front of Sun Wukong, and his fists were like the wind, attacking Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong dodged to both sides and retreated. When Vegeta saw that his attack missed Sun Wukong, he suddenly raised his right foot and kicked Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong blocked with his left hand and quickly retreated. Vegeta yelled angrily, clenching his fists tightly. Ah! With a huge roar, a huge translucent flame immediately rose from Vegeta's body. The surrounding ground shook violently under the influence of Vegeta's breath. A large amount of sand and stones were lifted from the ground and flew into the air. At this moment, Vegeta's breath quickly rose upwards. After a while, Vegeta's strength was improved and he released the energy gathered outside his body. An extremely shocking strong wind appeared, and immediately raised a large amount of sand and dust on both sides of Vegeta. After watching, Sun Wukong still kept a calm face. Although Vegeta's strength has improved a little, his current strength has far surpassed Vegeta. Ha! With a loud shout, Vegeta rushed to Sun Wukong like a cannonball and punched forward with both fists. Sun Wukong raised his arms forward, resisting Vegeta's attack while retreating. Vegeta looked at it and swung his right fist forward with all his strength, knocking Sun Wukong out with one punch. Sun Wukong stomped his feet hard on the ground and soon stopped on the ground. Ah! Vegeta shouted, and fired a large amount of energy waves from his hands, attacking Sun Wukong. What? Sun Wukong was startled and quickly raised his hands to resist Vegeta's energy wave. Boom, boom, boom. With huge explosions, Sun Wukong was hit by Vegeta's energy wave. The thick smoke produced by the large amount of explosions soon covered Sun Wukong's body. Whoosh! Vegeta immediately stopped the energy wave attack after seeing this. After a while, when the smoke on the ground cleared, Sun Wukong was standing unharmed in a deep pit created by the explosion. How could it be? Vegeta said with some disbelief in his heart after seeing this. Sun Wukong. Vegeta, you are not my opponent, I think we should just stop fighting here. I am not your opponent. After hearing this, Vegeta immediately became furious. He was a Saiyan prince, but he was underestimated by a low-level Saiyan warrior. Thinking of this, Vegeta immediately flew into the air, his hands emitting purple lightning, gathering energy in the sky. Vegeta, what do you want to do? Sun Wukong saw this and his expression changed slightly. If Vegeta sent the energy wave to the Earth at this angle, the Earth would definitely be in danger of destruction. After hearing this, Vegeta immediately laughed. Kakarot, are you finally afraid? Just as you thought, I will destroy you and the entire Earth together. What? Sun Wukong was immediately angry when he heard this. In that case, don't blame me for being rude, Sun Wukong said, clasping his hands behind his back and gathering his energy. Turtle-style Qigong. A deep blue chi wave condensed in Sun Wukong's hands. Gaelic Cannon. At this moment, Vegeta finished gathering his energy, and fired a purple beam of light from his palms, hitting the ground. Bow. Sun Wukong looked at it and used Kamehameha to attack the Gale Cannon. Bang! With a loud noise, the energy waves of the two people collided violently in the sky. The ground under Sun Wukong's feet shattered, and the sky was difficult to see the color of the sky because of the huge light emitted by the two energy waves. Vegeta yelled angrily, and hit down with both hands with all his strength. The Kamehameha was immediately suppressed. Ah! Sun Wukong shouted loudly after seeing this, and pushed Vegeta's Gaelic Cannon back. What? Seeing this, Vegeta's face immediately changed, and it was too late for him to dodge. Bang! Vegeta was hit by the counterattack of the Gaelic Cannon, and his body was pushed into the sky. Boom! With a huge explosion, the Kamehameha exploded in the sky. Vegeta immediately let out an extremely loud scream under the explosion of the Kamehameha. A lot of thick smoke from the explosion immediately appeared in the sky. After a while, when the smoke in the sky dissipated, Vegeta gasped for breath. The Saiyan combat suit he was wearing was seriously damaged in many places, and his body was seriously injured in the explosion just now. Vegeta looked at Sun Wukong standing on the ground with great reluctance in his heart. He lost to the lower-level Saiyan warrior whom he despised the most. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared. This person was Roger. Sun Wukong. Roger. After hearing this, Roger nodded and looked at Vegeta in the sky with a smile. How is it, Vegeta? After hearing this, Vegeta snorted coldly and slowly descended from the sky. Roger, tell me, how did Kakarot become so strong? It's very simple, just practice. Practice. Although fighting is a way to improve strength, this kind of improvement is too slow. However, if you practice with high difficulty, you can greatly improve your strength, speed up the improvement. What kind of difficult training should be carried out? Vegeta asked. He was eager to improve his strength, surpass Son Goku, and defeat Frieza. Gravity training. Gravity. If you can practice under 100 times the gravity, your strength will definitely increase significantly. 100 times the force of gravity. You mean, your superpower? No, I meant the gravity chamber. Gravity room. Roger nodded and threw a Senzu bean to Vegeta. What is this? This is the magic bean. As long as you take it, your injuries and physical strength will be restored. Senzu beans. Vegeta looked at the Senzu beans in his hand and swallowed them. Bang! After Vegeta swallowed the Senzu beans, his body swelled up, and his physical strength and injuries were immediately restored. This, Vegeta believed it in his heart, looking at the wounds on his body that were recovering. If he also had Senzu beans, maybe he could use this bug that Saiyans always resurrect from the brink of death to help him quickly improve his strength. Wukong, feed them these 2 magic beans. Roger took out 2 more magic beans and gave them to Sun Wukong. Okay, Sun Wukong nodded and fed the beans in his hand to Raditz and the others. After taking the beans, the 2 of them woke up quickly. Raditz. Kakarot. Sun Wukong nodded. At this time, Raditz and Nappa looked at Vegeta together. They really wanted to know who won the fight just now. Vegeta snorted coldly and turned his head to look away. He has always been the high and mighty Saiyan Prince in front of Raditz and the others. Now that he, the Saiyan Prince, has lost to his brother, how could he be willing to admit such a thing? Raditz saw that Vegeta didn't speak, and immediately looked at Kakarot. Kakarot, you should know me, right? I'm your brother Raditz. Elder brother. Yeah, don't you know me? I don't know him. Sun Wukong shook his head. Sun Wukong, when he was very young, he accidentally fell off a cliff and broke his head, so he forgot about the Saiyans. Roger said, what, are you saying that you forgot your memories of being a Saiyan? Yeah, Roger nodded. Okay, now is not the time to talk about this. I am here to tell you something. What's the matter? Raditz asked. Frieza's men are coming. King Frieza, has he sent someone? Nappa's face suddenly changed when he heard this. Yes, it should be here in a few minutes. Nappa, you still call him the king, do you still want to be loyal to him? No. After hearing this, Nappa shook his head repeatedly. I just said that I was used to it and I didn't have the time to change my words. Roger, you said you would help us fight against Frieza, but do you intend to stand aside and watch? Roger smiled and said, don't worry, Vegeta. The two people who came this time are not very strong. With Sun Wukong's strength, he can easily deal with them. Really? Then Roger, can you tell me your current strength? I only need one finger now to kill Frieza in an instant. What? Vegeta was shocked. In that case, why don't you go and kill Frieza yourself? There are only a few of us left in the Saiyan race, so I want to see if any of you still have backbone and are worth training. We Saiyans are a fighting nation. If we don't even have backbone, then this nation will be completely destroyed. Fighting nation. Raditz and Nappa's eyes immediately became hot after hearing this. Before Frieza appeared, almost no one dared to mess with the Saiyans in the universe. At that time, the Saiyans were so glorious. But since Frieza appeared, their title of fighting nation has only existed in name. I want to revive our Saiyan race, but after our revival, our Saiyan race will no longer be the Saiyans who destroy other people's planets but peace-loving Saiyans. No more destruction. Raditz and Nappa looked reluctant after hearing this. Nappa, if we don't invade other planets, where will our money come from? Of course, it is earned through labor just like ordinary people. Isn't this too slow a way to make money? Raditz said. It's okay, you just need to get used to it slowly. After hearing this, the two of them immediately looked towards Vegeta. If you can help us defeat Frieza, I will let them earn money through labor. Deal. As soon as the words fell, two White Saiyan spaceships fell like meteors in front of Sun Wukong and his group. A huge deep pit was immediately created on the ground. Those two spaceships seemed to be Dodoria and Sabo's spaceships. Raditz said with a trembling body. Son Goku, Dodoria, Sabo. They are the subordinates of Frieza, and I heard they have a combat power of over 20,000. Sun Wukong. Over 20,000. The combat power you are talking about is the number on the machine. Yes, this is called a combat power detector, it can detect the opponent's strength. So how strong is Vegeta? 16,000. Raditz said. Just as the two were talking, Dodori Saya and Sabo came out of the spaceship and flew in front of Son Goku and the others. Long time no see, Vegeta. Sabo smiled and said to Vegeta. Vegeta snorted coldly. You too, did Frieza ask you to kill me? That's right, King Frieza didn't intend to kill you, but you refused to obey his orders and went back, so he sent the two of us to such a far place to kill you. By the way, clean up the other Saiyans who survived by chance. Sabo said, looking at Sun Wukong and Roger. Who of you two said you wanted to help Vegeta and fight against King Frieza? I said so. Roger laughed. Oh, is that so? In that case, Dodoria, I'll take care of this guy, and you go take care of Vegeta. As for the others, the two of us will kill half each. Okay, Dodoria nodded. After that, the two immediately rushed towards Roger and Vegeta. Call out. Just as Sabo rushed forward a few meters, a golden ray suddenly appeared and instantly penetrated his chest. Sabo spit out a mouthful of blood, and before he knew what was happening, he fell to the ground and died. Sabo. Dodoria was startled when he saw Sabo suddenly fall to the ground, and he stopped rushing. Nappa and the others who were standing not far away were shocked. Sabo has always been a very powerful existence in their hearts. But now, Sabo suddenly fell down like this. After seeing this scene, Vegeta was stunned on the spot. Because Roger's attack speed was too fast, he didn't see clearly when Roger made the move. But judging from the injuries on Sabo's body, Roger should have fired a ray at his chest. Roger. The kind-hearted Sun Wukong couldn't help but shout to Roger. Since Sun Wukong was a child, his grandfather didn't allow him to kill people. This is why Sun Wukong always showed mercy to his enemies. Wukong, I know you are kind, but we must never show mercy to bad people. Bad guy. Raditz and Nappa thought of themselves immediately after hearing this. because they had the blood of countless people on their hands. If they were not Saiyans, they might have ended up like Sabo. After hearing this, Sun Wukong nodded slightly. After hearing what Roger said, Dodoria immediately broke out in cold sweat on his forehead. He knew that he could not escape death today. But even if he died, he would take someone with him. Let's fight. Thinking of this, Dodoria condensed a wave of energy in his right hand and hit Raditz. Raditz was the weakest among them, and it would be easiest to destroy him. Danger. After seeing this, Sun Wukong immediately came to Raditz and slapped his right hand forward, knocking the energy wave from Dodoria to the right. With a loud bang, the energy wave exploded on the ground. A large amount of smoke from the explosion immediately appeared on the ground. What? Dodoria was shocked. Kakarot. Raditz was very touched when he saw that Sun Wukong actually saved him. Ah! Sun Wukong shouted, and rushed towards Dodoria as fast as lightning. Dodoria clenched her hands and rushed towards Sun Wukong. Soon, Dodoria rushed in front of Sun Wukong and punched forward with her right fist. Sun Wukong dodged to the left and kicked Dodoria hard in the abdomen with his right foot. Dodoria screamed loudly, and her body, like a thread, slammed into the mountain behind him. The mountain was immediately covered with a large cloud of dust. But, Dodoria shouted angrily, and quickly climbed out of the mountain, emitting a large amount of energy waves from both hands, attacking Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong moved to both sides and dodged. Boom, boom, boom. With huge explosions, the energy waves from Dodoria's attack exploded around Sun Wukong. The thick smoke produced by the large amount of explosions soon covered Sun Wukong's body. Kakarot. Raditz was immediately worried after seeing this. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Dodoria. This person was Son Goku. Dodoria was startled, and before he could react, he saw Son Goku's right fist hit him in the abdomen. Bang! With a violent sound, Dodoria screamed loudly, spit out a mouthful of bitter water, and fell down. Kakarot defeated Dodoria. Nappa was shocked. Son Goku defeated Dodoria, which means that Son Goku just defeated Vegeta. Yes, Raditz nodded. Vegeta snorted coldly, ran quickly to Dodoria, and fired a ray of light at his chest with his right hand. Vegeta, don't do it. Sun Wukong shouted at Vegeta. Bang! With a scream, Dodoria was completely dead. Roger, the two of them have been eliminated now, so what should we do next? Vegeta asked Roger. Give me your spaceship first, and I will give you a gravity chamber later. Spaceship. After hearing this, Nappa and the others looked towards their own spaceship. Yeah, do you want me to give you the gravity room for free? No, no. After hearing this, Nappa shook his head repeatedly. But now that we have given you our spaceship, how are we supposed to leave the Earth? If you want to leave the Earth, I can take you away from the Earth. Roger said. Vegeta snorted coldly after hearing this. Roger, if you want those spaceships, take them. I want to see the gravity chamber you mentioned right away. Okay, but you have to wait a moment. Roger said, and immediately came to Vegeta's spaceship and drew a strange circular pattern next to him. After the pattern was drawn, Roger immediately used the control object to make Vegeta's spaceship fly up from the ground and land on the pattern drawn on the ground. Then, Roger recited a spell, and the pattern on the ground immediately turned purple and emitted bursts of purple light. In this way, the teleportation array is ready. Kakarot, what is he doing? Raditz was a little curious about Roger's magic. I don't know. At this moment, Roger moved instantly and came to the backyard of Bulma's house. Roger. Bulma, who was drinking coffee in the backyard, saw Roger suddenly appear and immediately walked over happily. After hearing this, Roger nodded, took a branch in his right hand, and drew a circular teleportation array on the ground. Roger, what are you doing? Bulma asked. I'm drawing a magic circle. Magic circle? Yes, you will know soon. Oh. After a while, Roger finished drawing and recited a spell, and a purple magic formation appeared. Okay, done. Transmit now. As soon as the words fell, a Saiyan spaceship slowly emerged from the ground. Is this a spaceship? Yes, Roger said, using his control to land the spaceship on the grass in the distance. There are 4 spaceships over there. I will tell you in detail after I teleport all the spaceships over. Oh, good. Seeing this, Roger teleported in front of Sun Wukong and the others, and then used his control to move another Saiyan spaceship to the teleportation array. Roger, what are you doing? Sun Wukong was also a little curious about Roger's magic. This is a teleportation array. It can help me teleport the spaceship to Dr. Brief's house. Dr. Brief, yes, I plan to sell these spaceships, Roger said, and immediately recited a magic spell to teleport the spaceship to Bulma's house. Then, he teleported to Bulma's house. After 5 teleportations, Roger finally transported all the spaceships to Bulma's house. Finally, he brought the 100-fold gravity room made by Dr. Brief to Son Goku and the others. Raditz, what is this? This is the 100 times gravity room. It can increase gravity to 100 times. If you practice in it, you will definitely get twice the result with half the effort. Really, after hearing this, Nappa still felt that it would be a bit of a disadvantage for them to change the gravity room for 3 spaceships. In addition, you are now on Earth and must abide by the laws of the Earth. You are not allowed to kill or steal. So how do we solve the problem of food? Raditz asked. There are seas and forests on the Earth. You can solve the problem of food by just hunting casually. Roger said. Well, none of this matters. Roger, please take me to the gravity room you mentioned. Frieza will probably send out even stronger enemies after him. Okay, Roger nodded. On the other side, after the death of Dodoria and Sabo, a soldier from Frieza's army soon reported to Frieza that they could not contact the two. Can't contact Sabo and the others. Yes, King Frieza. The soldier in charge of reporting trembled. When Frieza was angry, he might kill people, so when there was bad intelligence to report, it was usually these low-level soldiers who were responsible for reporting it. What about the Ginyu Force, where are they now? It seems to be somewhere close to the northern Milky Way. Then let them go to Earth and see if Sabo and the others are still alive. If they are dead, let them get rid of those Saiyans. Yes, King Frieza. On Earth, Vegeta and the others had already entered the gravity room with Roger. This is the gravity room. This is the switch of the gravity room. The button on the left, just press it once, you can double the gravity. The button on the right, just press it once, you can reduce the gravity by half. The button in the middle is the button that resets the gravity to 0. Finally, there are the buttons on this machine. These buttons can directly input multiples, and the highest multiple is 100 times. After listening, Nappa nodded, not quite understanding. Goku, there is still some food in this spaceship, but once it's all eaten, you'll have to go hunting on your own. Yes, Sun Wukong nodded. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Okay, Sun Wukong nodded. After seeing this, Roger moved instantly and left the gravity room. Prince Vegeta, what should we do next? Nappa asked Vegeta. Needless to say, of course, I am here to practice. Raditz, your fighting ability is relatively low, so you will be responsible for food issues before Frieza arrives. Okay, Raditz nodded despite some reluctance. Wait, Vegeta, why should Raditz be responsible for the food problem when his fighting power is low? Shouldn't we solve it ourselves? Son Goku, after hearing this, he immediately stood up and spoke for Raditz. After hearing this, Vegeta snorted coldly. Kakarot, stop being so hypocritical. If you have any objections, you can help him solve the food problem. After hearing this, Sun Wukong gritted his teeth. Help him solve the food problem, then help him solve the food problem. Sun Wukong said, and immediately left the gravity room. Kakarot, Raditz looked at Sun Wukong's figure going away, and his heart was filled with mixed feelings. He never thought that one day, the brother he looked down upon would stand up for him. West City, Bulma's house. Roger has arrived at Bulma's house. Roger, where did you get these spaceships? Some Saiyans and aliens just came to Earth, where did I get it from them? What do aliens look like? They are already dead. What about the Saiyans? They're in the southern part of the world. South, if you take the gravity room away, you're bringing it to them. Roger nodded. By the way, Roger, you just said that the pattern on the ground is a magic circle, so do you know magic? A little bit, right. Then can you teach me? Bulma asked. Yes, you can, but learning magic is not as easy as you think. It's okay, I'm very patient, I believe I can learn it. After hearing this, Bulma patted his chest with his right hand and said. It's not patience, it's talent. When learning magic, the most important thing is whether you have talent. Talent, yes. In that case, I will definitely prove to you that I have a talent for learning magic. Okay, then I will recite a magic spell later and you follow me. Good. More than 10 minutes later, Bulma recited the magic spell that Roger had just taught her, trying to make the tree grow. But no matter how she recited, she couldn't make the tree grow. Roger sat at a table in the backyard, drinking the coffee that Mrs. Brief had just made. Roger, what is she doing? Mrs. Brief saw that Boomer had been talking to a small tree and thought that she was out of her mind. She is learning magic. Magic, Roger nodded. At this moment, a figure flew down from the sky. It was Sun Wukong. Wukong. Sun Wukong nodded. Roger, who is he? Bulma looked at Sun Wukong. His name is Son Goku, and he's a Saiyan like me. Goku, this is Bulma, she's my friend. Bulma. Yeah, Roger nodded. Wukong, why are you here? After hearing this, Sun Wukong immediately told Roger about Raditz. You want to help Raditz? Sun Wukong nodded. Well, for your sake, I will help them solve their food problem. But I can only help them solve their food problem for a few months. After a few months, they still have to solve their food problem by themselves. It's okay, I'll ask them to prepare food in advance. Roger nodded. Then Goku, after you bring the food back, I will send you to practice with Lord Kai, right? Lord Kai, yes, the gravity room is so small, it's not suitable for so many people to practice together. Sun Wukong nodded. After a long time, Roger brought Sun Wukong back to the gravity room and gave Raditz the food and water in the universal capsule. After Sun Wukong briefly introduced the universal capsule to him, he saw that Vegeta and the others had already entered to practice, so he asked Raditz. Raditz, why don't you go in and practice? The gravity in there is too strong, there is no way I can practice in there. Too heavy. Yes, because Prince Vegeta used 50 times gravity to practice from the beginning. 50 times the gravity from the beginning. Sun Wukong was shocked. Yes, how about this, Raditz, you and I go to Lord Kai's place to train together. Lord Kai, yes, Lord Kai is a very good person. I think he will definitely agree to you training with me. After listening, Raditz thought for a while and said, no need, I can't help you much with my current fighting ability anyway. But, it's okay, I can go in and practice while Prince Vegeta is resting. Well, if you want to come and practice, you can come anytime. Raditz nodded. Time flies, and half a month has passed in the blink of an eye. In this half month, Vegeta basically practiced in the gravity room except for eating and sleeping. Although Vegeta was not very nice to Raditz and the others, he was indeed diligent and hardworking in practice. It was precisely because of this that he was able to greatly improve his combat effectiveness within half a month. Although Raditz and Nappa also improved a little, the improvement was not much. Kakarot, Roger, Vegeta was practicing and saying the names of the two. Suddenly, Vegeta felt 5 very powerful auras approaching the Earth. Are they coming? After Vegeta felt the 5 powerful auras, he was not afraid but showed a hint of excitement. Because these 5 people were the Ginyu Force. If he had met the Ginyu Force before, he would have been very scared. But it is different now. His strength has been greatly improved, and he has Roger as a powerful backer. He is not afraid of the Ginyu Force at all. In addition, the Ginyu Force had mocked him a lot before. Now that they came to his door, it was a good opportunity for revenge. Don't bully the poor young man. He wants those who look down on him to pay the price they deserve. At this moment, the fire of revenge in Vegeta's heart was burning. Wait, Frieza, I will become the legendary Super Saiyan and defeat you. Nappa was stunned when he saw Vegeta suddenly talking to himself. Somebody is coming. Who? After hearing this, Nappa said nervously. Ginyu Force. Ginyu Force. Nappa was shocked. He knew the Ginyu Force, the ace team under Frieza. Frieza sent them here, which meant he was really angry. Yes, so Prince Vegeta, what should we do next? Needless to say, of course I would accept the challenge. Yes, accept the challenge. Nappa was shocked again. Because Vegeta never dared to resist the Ginyu Force. Yes, are you sure you can beat them? Nappa asked in a low voice. Why are you scared? If you are scared, you don't have to go. No, No. Nappa shook his head after hearing this. Vegeta snorted coldly after hearing this, wondering if Sun Wukong would participate in this battle. After thinking about it, Vegeta immediately took Nappa and Raditz to the place where the Ginyu Force was about to land. At the same time, the North King Kai on the North Kai planet also felt the momentum of the Ginyu Force. Oh no, Goku, it seems the Ginyu Force have gone to Earth. Ginyu Force, yes, they are Frieza's ace team, and it seems that Frieza is serious this time. So have they reached Earth? Not yet. In the sky above the Earth, 5 white spaceships were falling towards a grassland like meteors. Boom, boom, boom. With 5 loud noises, the 5 spaceships created 5 deep pits of the same size and shape on the ground. Then, the 5 spaceships opened at the same time, and 5 people with different appearances walked out. The one standing on the left is a man with light green skin, short stature, no ears, but a pair of big eyes where his ears should be. His name is Gouda, and he is a member of the Ginyu Force. He has superpowers that can control time and space. The longer he holds his breath, the longer time can stop. He can also make his opponent unable to move. However, his combat power is the weakest among the 5. Standing on the right side of Gouda is a tall man with a red pineapple haircut. The man's name is Li Gao, also a member of the Ginyu Force. Standing on the right side of Li Gao is a man with purple skin, tall and burly stature, and a pair of long black spikes on his head. He is Ginyu of the Ginyu Force. Standing on the right side of Ginyu is a man with red skin, long hair on his head, and a medium stature. His name is Geese, and he is the vice captain of the Ginyu Force. Standing on the far right is a man with blue skin, tall stature, round head, and a cap on his head. His name is Bart, and he is the tallest of the Ginyu Force. Sure enough, it's the Ginyu Force. Raditz trembled immediately after seeing the 5 people. Vegeta snorted coldly at this, with a look of disdain on his face. At this moment, the 5 people flew out of the deep pit where the spaceship had smashed and landed on the ground. Vegeta, you have betrayed King Frieza. Ginyu saw that the 3 had been waiting for them and laughed. The Ginyu Special Forces, like Dodoria and his men, were not on good terms with Vegeta and his men. So when Ginyu and his men heard that they could kill Vegeta, they were excited. Vegeta laughed immediately after hearing this. Ginyu, did you make a mistake? What went wrong? Ginyu asked in confusion. I am different from you. I am just an employee of Frieza, not his subordinate. Ginyu laughed immediately after hearing this. I see, you have been harboring evil intentions for a long time. In that case, I will eliminate you, the traitor, for King Frieza today. But, before I kill you, there is one thing I want to confirm. Dodoria and Sabo, who killed them? Of course, they both died at my hands. Vegeta laughed. No, it's impossible. The difference in strength between you and them is too big. I think it should be the other 2 Saiyans, right? After hearing this, Vegeta narrowed his eyes. It seems that there are indeed listening devices on those combat power detectors. Ginyu laughed immediately after hearing this. It seems that I guessed right. Then Vegeta, where are the other 2 Saiyans? If you tell me, I can leave you with an intact body. HMPH. Vegeta snorted coldly. I should be the one saying this to you. Really, in that case, I have no choice but to kill you first and then find those 2 guys. At this moment, 2 figures suddenly appeared. These 2 people were Sun Wukong and Roger. Are you 2 the other Saiyans who survived by chance? Sun Wukong nodded slightly after hearing this. Then, between the 2 of you, who killed Dodoria and Sabo? Wukong and I killed one each, said Roger. Really, it seems that this matter is much more interesting than I thought. Ginyu Force, fighting pose. It's the captain. After hearing this, Geese and the others immediately dispersed to both sides, stomping their feet shoulder to shoulder. Thump, thump, thump music. Sun Wukong and the others were stunned. At this moment, Ji Yudu shouted, stepped on the ground with one foot, and made a golden rooster stand. Ginyu Force, Gouda, Gouda said, and Li Gao immediately shouted, bent his left foot downward, stood on his right foot, and raised his hands to the upper right. Ginyu Force, Ligo, Ligo said, and Bart, who was standing on the right, bent his right foot downward, stood on his left foot, raised his hands to the upper left and said, Ginyu Force, Bart. After seeing this, Gis threw his long white hair towards the ground, squatted on the ground, and made a gesture of spreading wings with his hands. Ginyu Special Forces, GIS. Ginyu looked at it, turned around, lowered his head to his crotch, and made a seemingly funny move. Then, he quickly turned around and said, Ginyu Force, Ginyu. We are the Ginyu Special Forces. The 5 people said in unison. Bart and Geese stood up from the ground immediately, and made a move with their hands to the upper left. Gouda raised his left foot and put it down, and made a move with Li Gao to the upper right with his hands. Ginyu stood in front of the 4 people, squatting on the ground with his feet, and put his hands 60 degrees on both sides of the ground. Bart, Geese, and Gouda blushed because of this awkward posture. This fighting posture was forced by Ginyu to do, and they didn't want to do this awkward posture. At this moment, Ginyu stood up from the ground. Bart and the others took back their hands after seeing it. Very good. Everyone cooperated well in the Ginyu Special Forces fighting posture this time. Let's do the same next time. Ginyu praised the 4 people. The 4 nodded. Next time. After hearing this, Vegeta immediately laughed. I'm afraid you won't have another chance, because you will all die here today. What did you say? After hearing this, Geese clenched his hands and looked at Vegeta with anger. Ginyu, who was standing aside, didn't look very good after hearing Vegeta's arrogant words. But he knew that Vegeta had always been very cautious in doing things. He must have something to rely on if he dared to be so arrogant to them now. Geese, use the combat power detector to see what Vegeta's current combat power is. It's Captain Ginyu, Geese said, and immediately turned on the combat power detector on his left eye. DD, 5000, 5000, that's strange, is there something wrong with the combat power detector? After seeing the value on the combat power detector, Geese said in astonishment. Vegeta has worked in Frieza's army for so long, his combat power has long been transparent in Frieza's army. 5000, yes, Captain. Then Li Gao, why don't you use your combat power detector to take a look? It's the Captain. After hearing this, Li Gao immediately turned on the combat power detector on his left eye. DD, 5000, Li Gao, Captain, my combat power detector also shows 5000. What? Ginyu was shocked and thought to himself. Could it be that Vegeta's strength has decreased? But that's impossible. Even if Vegeta's strength has decreased, it can't have decreased so much. At this moment, Vegeta suddenly burst into laughter. It's not that the combat power detector is broken, but I learned a way on Earth to control combat power at will. Geese was shocked. Do whatever you want, a way to control your combat power. Really? Ginyu laughed immediately after hearing this. In that case, each of you choose an opponent. There are 5 of them anyway, right? Vegeta snorted coldly. You don't have to choose, because all of you will die in my hands. Vegeta said, and his figure flashed, and he came to Gouda in an instant, and his right hand shot a golden energy wave at Gouda. Bang! With a golden flame, Gouda's body was instantly scorched by the energy wave attacked by Vegeta. Gouda. At this time, Geese realized that Gouda had been killed and shouted at Gouda. What? Ginyu saw that Gouda was killed right under his nose, and he clenched his hands in anger. Vegeta's move was undoubtedly a slap in his face. Vegeta chuckled and looked at Geese and the others. But, seeing Vegeta provoking them, Geese rushed towards Vegeta with great anger. Soon, Geese rushed to Vegeta and punched forward with his right fist. Vegeta moved to the right and hit Geese's abdomen with his left fist. Geese screamed loudly and was thrown to a small hill thousands of meters away like a thread. Because this is a grassland, there are no mountains. Geese. Bart saw it and immediately shouted at him. However, Geese had already lost consciousness after being hit by Vegeta, so he had no way to respond to Bart. It's useless. He has been seriously injured by me and has no way to respond to you. Vegeta laughed. What? Bart was shocked. No, impossible. Geese's combat power is 45,000. Even if your combat power has improved, it can't be improved so quickly. Ginyu standing aside looked solemn. He didn't expect that Vegeta would improve so much in such a short time. I know it's hard for you to accept, but this is reality. Vegeta said proudly after hearing this. After hearing this, Bart clenched his hands and was about to rush towards Vegeta, but was stopped by Ginyu beside him. Bart, his strength has indeed improved a lot. I think how about this, I will deal with Vegeta, and you and Lee go deal with the others. Okay then, Captain, Bart said, and immediately looked towards Sun Wukong and the others. Li Gao, I'll deal with that short Saiyan, and you deal with the Saiyan next to him, how about that? Okay, Li Gao nodded. After that, the two immediately rushed towards Roger and Sun Wukong. Soon, they rushed in front of Sun Wukong and Roger, and punched forward with their right fists. Roger lowered his body and hit Li Gao's abdomen with an elbow with his right hand. Li Gao screamed loudly, his bones shattered, and his body suddenly lost consciousness and fell to the ground. Sun Wukong dodged Bart's attack by moving sideways. What? Bart was shocked. At this time, Sun Wukong swung his right fist forward and hit Bart's chest hard. Bart screamed loudly and flew backwards like a thread. Bang! Bart's body fell hundreds of meters away. Bart yelled angrily, and quickly got up from the ground and rushed towards Sun Wukong. Soon, Bart rushed to Sun Wukong again, punching and kicking as fast as lightning, attacking Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong moved slightly and easily avoided Bart's attack. After seeing this, Bart immediately stepped back, condensed a large amount of energy waves with his hands, and attacked Sun Wukong. Vegeta's side. After Bart and Li Gao made their moves, Vegeta and Ginyu immediately looked at each other. Vegeta, I don't know how you have improved so much in such a short time, but there is absolutely no way you can defeat me. Really? After hearing this, Vegeta released a large amount of energy from his body and rushed towards Ginyu. Bang! With a sound of breaking through the air, Vegeta quickly rushed in front of Ginyu and punched forward with his right fist with all his strength. What? Ginyu was startled and quickly raised his hands to block Vegeta's attack. Bang! Vegeta hit Ginyu's hands with his right fist and knocked him back. Ginyu stomped his feet on the ground and soon stopped on the ground. At this time, Vegeta came in front of Ginyu and swept his right foot towards Ginyu like an autumn wind sweeping fallen leaves. Ginyu jumped into the air with his feet. Vegeta stood up and attacked Ginyu with his fists as fast as lightning. After seeing this, Ginyu immediately raised his hands to block Vegeta's attack. Sun Wukong's side. Sun Wukong had already knocked Bart down at this time. Seeing that only Ginyu was left, Roger immediately flew to Sun Wukong and said, "Then Goku, you take care of Vegeta. I'm going to move all of Ginyu and the other spaceships to Dr. Brief's house." "Oh, okay." Sun Wukong nodded. After seeing this, Roger immediately drew a teleportation array on the ground, teleporting Ginyu and his spaceships to Bulma's house one by one. Ginyu was fighting with Vegeta and could not be separated, so he could only watch Roger take away spaceships one by one. That fool. Although Ginyu failed to stop Roger, he still cursed Roger in his heart. Roger didn't know Ginyu's thoughts. At this moment, he was like a hard-working little bee, moving the spaceship. Bang! Just when Ginyu was distracted, Vegeta hit Ginyu's chin with his right fist. Ginyu's body was immediately knocked into the sky. Vegeta raised his hands upwards, and a large amount of energy waves were emitted from his hands, attacking Ginyu. Call out! Boom! 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 With huge explosions, Ginyu was hit by the energy wave from Vegeta. Ginyu screamed loudly, and his body was covered by the smoke from the explosion. Vegeta sneered and temporarily stopped the energy wave attack. After a while, when the smoke in the sky dissipated, Ginyu stood in the air in an extremely embarrassed state. Vegeta. Ginyu was extremely angry and said to Vegeta. He never thought that he would be injured by Vegeta one day. "What do you think, Ginyu? Didn't you just say that there is absolutely no way I can defeat you?" Vegeta, don't be too proud. I haven't shown my true strength yet. I can hide my true fighting ability just like you. What? Vegeta was shocked. Ah, Ginyu said, clenching his hands tightly, and an extremely amazing aura emanated from his whole body, rapidly rising upwards. After seeing this, Vegeta clenched his hands and gritted his teeth. Soon, Ginyu increased his combat power to 120,000. Ginyu shouted and released the energy gathered outside his body. Suddenly, an extremely violent gust of wind appeared and spread out in all directions. "How about it, Vegeta?" Ginyu said with a smile. After hearing this, Vegeta raised his mouth slightly and said with a faint smile on his face. "Ginyu, your strength has indeed improved, but just like you, I haven't shown my true strength yet." "What?" Ginyu was shocked. "Ah," Vegeta said, Clenching his hands tightly, and exuding an extremely amazing aura from his whole body, he quickly rose upwards. The ground around him shook violently under the influence of Vegeta's aura. Prince Vegeta, Nappa and Raditz were both incredulous when they saw that Vegeta could still improve his strength. They were already shocked that Vegeta could defeat Geese and the others. Unexpectedly, Vegeta hadn't used his full strength yet. At this moment, when the two were shocked, Vegeta shouted and increased his combat power to 125,000. This was also the strongest combat power he could exert at present. After completing the increase in energy, Vegeta immediately released the energy gathered outside his body. Suddenly, an extremely violent gust of wind appeared and radiated in all directions. A large piece of dust was immediately raised from the ground. Seeing this, Ginyu looked solemn. Not to mention Vegeta's strength, even if he defeated the opponent still had 4 people. Okay, Ginyu, let's get going, Vegeta said with a smile. Although Ginyu is very strong, he still has Roger and Son Goku who haven't made much of a move yet. Humph, Ginyu snorted coldly. Vegeta, don't think that you can bully me just because you've improved your strength a little. Don't forget how you looked before me. After hearing this, Vegeta clenched his hands and rushed towards Ginyu with an angry face. Ginyu chuckled and rushed towards Vegeta. Call out. Bang, bang, bang. Soon, the two came in front of each other, punching and kicking as fast as lightning. The ground around the two was immediately stirred up by huge clouds of dust. Bang! Ginyu hit Vegeta's face with his right fist, knocking him back. Vegeta stomped his feet on the ground and flew into the sky. Ginyu saw it and immediately chased after him. Call out. Bang! 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 With a series of violent noises, the two men fought in the sky like a thread. At this time, Roger, who had brought all the spaceships to Bulma's house, stabbed Rico and the others who were not yet completely dead, ending their last suffering in the world, sending them to hell. Roger, Sun Wukong wanted to stop him, but Roger was too fast. In just a moment, they were all dead. Nappa and Raditz looked at Roger's ruthless attack and immediately thought of Vegeta. They swore in their hearts that they must not offend Roger, otherwise their fate would definitely not be better than Li Gao and the others. Call out. Boom, boom, boom. Just as the two were thinking, Vegeta and Ginyu fired a large amount of energy waves with their hands at the same time, and they started to bombard each other in the sky. For a moment, the sky was filled with smoke and flames, and the sound of explosions caused by energy waves was everywhere. The two of them moved quickly while dodging the energy waves from each other. Whoosh! After a while, the two stopped attacking with energy waves at the same time and gasped for breath. Although the energy wave attack was very refreshing, it also consumed a lot of physical strength. Ah! After his breathing became more stable, Vegeta shouted and rushed towards Ginyu. Ginyu clenched his right fist and rushed towards Vegeta. Call out. Bang, bang, bang. Soon, the two came in front of each other, fighting each other fist to fist and foot to foot. Bang! After the two fought for a while, Vegeta punched forward with his right fist with all his strength, hitting Ginyu hard on the abdomen. Ginyu screamed loudly and spat out a mouthful of bitter water. Vegeta took this opportunity to quickly get behind Ginyu, put his hands together, and hit Ginyu hard. Bang! Boom! With an extremely violent sound, Ginyu's body was smashed to the ground like a thread. A large piece of dust was immediately raised on the ground. Vegeta clapped his hands downward and sent 2 golden energy waves towards Ginyu's position. Boom! Boom! With 2 huge explosions, Ginyu's body was hit by Vegeta's energy wave and he let out 2 shocking screams. Whoosh! Vegeta was breathing heavily, standing in the air with a tired look on his face. Although Vegeta was stronger than Ginyu, he was not much stronger. In addition, he had consumed a lot of physical strength in destroying Gouda and the others before, so he didn't have much physical strength left. Of course, Ginyu's situation was worse than his, because Vegeta's attack just now had caused Ginyu to suffer a lot of injuries, and his strength was also reduced a lot. Ginyu gritted his teeth and climbed up from the ground with difficulty. He had never thought that he, the captain of the Ginyu Special Forces, would have such an embarrassing day, and he became so embarrassed because of Vegeta, whom he despised the most. Just as Ginyu was thinking about it, Vegeta kept his hands raised and flew down from the sky quickly. Ginyu saw Vegeta rushing towards him and wanted to fight him again, but when he thought of Roger and others standing in the distance watching the battle, he suddenly had another idea. He wanted to exchange bodies with Vegeta. Although Vegeta's body they are not much stronger than him, but Vegeta is a friend of Son Goku and the others. If he gets Vegeta's body, even if they are stronger than Vegeta, they will not kill him. Thinking of this, a smile immediately appeared on Ginyu's face. Bang! The next second after Ginyu smiled, he was hit hard in the face by Vegeta. Ginyu screamed and stepped back a few steps. After seeing this, Vegeta swung his fists at Ginyu like a storm. Ginyu screamed and let Vegeta attack him. Soon, Ginyu was covered with wounds. Vegeta, is this all the strength you have? The seriously injured Ginyu deliberately mocked Vegeta. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.